Hello and welcome to the Captain's Table.
Screaming into the microphone.
Sorry. Hello and welcome to the Captain's Table, everybody. My name is Paul, the Zerkro-1 Batman Shelley. These are my guests tonight, the ever-venerable and awesome Meyer, the eternally drunken Papa Dovlak, the eternally bearded McKetton, the forever Canadian Saurus, and the lovable yet inferior man that is Stoutman. I love you, Stoutman.
Shots fired.
I just have to say that because he lives in Southern California. So since I live in the North, there's that eternal rivalry between the North and the South.
Jealous of my beard too.
I'm so jealous of his beard. He's got such a nice beard. But yeah, welcome to the Captain's Table. This is a Star Citizen podcast where it's kind of more of a community roundtable. We just sit here and talk about whatever we want to talk about, be it stuff that's coming up this week, stuff that's coming up in the future, stuff that's happened in the past, whatever. We'll be talking about it. So limited moderation, but just kind of going. Before we get started, though, is there anybody who want to plug anything?
No.
No?
Not really.
Outside
of my normal stuff.
I will say, check out Meyer and Saurus's podcasts. Meyer is on the Fortnightly Frontier, and Saurus does the Redacted podcast. Fortnightly Frontier is usually on Sundays, right?
Yeah, actually, I think our next episode is tomorrow. We're trying to get a streamer known as the Spartan Show on to interview him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but if not, it'll just be me and George talking about 2.4 because that just came out.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of podcasts, I guess tomorrow I will probably be on Perverse the Verse.
Yeah, probably me too.
And
Actually, I do have something coming up next week, Thursday till Saturday. I have Red Bull and School of Humans coming here to film a documentary.
sweet.
Awesome.
Stream stuff.
That's fucking awesome, yeah.
So that'll be pretty cool.
Oh, and then aren't you going to be on Perverse the Verse like next week?
I don't think so.
You know, okay. I know that we're trying to get you on there in the next couple of weeks. I just didn't know when it was.
Yeah,
I
wasn't
am-
sure.
I am hesitantly on StarCast
On
next
Thursday?
week.
It's
Yeah,
Thursday. Yeah, StarCast is coming back. Yeah, for those of you guys who
Yeah.
don't know about StarCast is coming back. It was the thing that had this slot before Captain's Table took over, because Starcast took a break, but it's coming back on Thursdays, Thursday the 16th on Geek Domo's channel. So go check that.
Domo
out.
has risen from the grave and isn't dying anymore. So
Yeah.
he's back.
Risen from death's bed, literally.
Literally, has a brand new heart and everything. So
It's a baboon heart.
to get us all started off, what are you guys' initial impressions of 2.4 now that it is live?
I mean, it's 2.4.
It certainly is a thing. Yeah.
Every one of us, I
Yeah.
think, got at least a month in 2.4, probably more in testing
Yeah.
it. And I think
It's a lot less buggy now.
It's even though like as of today, I haven't been able to get in for more than 5 minutes, but it's still the amount of stuff that's broken isn't nearly as much as when it was first.
Oh no.
Yeah. There was a point in time where, I mean, there were literally entire patch cycles of 2.4 where we couldn't do anything other than stare at a loading screen. That was it.
It was unplayable. It was completely 100% unplayable.
There was nothing. We couldn't get into our hangars, nothing. It was just a menu and a loading screen every time.
There was a couple of those patches I could get in and nobody else could. So
I remember there was one night where Stoutman was streaming 2.4 and he was the only freaking person on the server, the only person like playing 2.4 out of everybody. Like nobody else was there.
I
He
was,
was just
I was on the only running server for like 2.5 hours.
yeah.
I'm
It's really finicky sometimes.
that some of this patch seemed a lot less busy. And I think that's because the majority of the guys who are always in were in Evocati maybe, or in the PT, stuff like that. Like when this went to live yesterday and today, like up until about 20 minutes ago, I was sitting at like maybe 180 viewers or something like that. But considering the size of the patch and what they implemented, I was honestly expecting more people to be wanting to check it out and whatever.
I think that the problem with 2.4 is, Chris hyped it up as being as big of a jump from 2.3 to 2.4 as 1.3 to 2.0 was.
Yeah.
And that's true in the
Back
sense of
end.
how the engine handles stuff, but it's not true from what we see.
From a visual standpoint.
yeah, and I
From
think
content-wise, it's not.
Yeah. And here's the thing: is that I think content-wise, it's a big patch, and back-end-wise, it's huge. But the problem is that people don't care. People get hyped. They get their hype boners raged up. They take their their boner medication, their hype boner medication, to get it all hyped up for a release. And then after they see it a while, they're like, "This isn't a lot. It's not a lot to hear." And so they want to.
I was
see
promised 16 new flyable ships and procedural planets and Hurston
Yeah.
and
So.
Microtech.
So as a result, people are like, "Well, this is very underwhelming," and
Yeah.
I think in general, what we're going to be experiencing between now and the end of this year's patch cycle by the end of the year is mostly going to be little iterations, which won't be that overwhelming. Like I think they've even talked about 2.5 coming out with sales, and I think I talked to a couple of you guys about this and asked you, like, do you think this means shipping? And I think the general consensus was no. It's just going to be like taking the cigars you find in
that's what I'm
Yella
thinking.
Well-
and then selling it at a store.
What's really interesting though is the stuff that they're internally testing right now, right?
yeah.
So and Brian has been in my channel quite a bit talking about how they're internally testing the procedural planets,
Right.
and they're doing that, and those are in internal test QA right now.
Yeah, was that in
Oh,
your
it's
was that in your stream where he said that they had like multiple planets running on
Yes,
a server with like being able to go to that planet, take off the planet, fly to another planet, take that and land, and all that kind of stuff.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So I think that's a lot sooner than we expect. But for the most part, what I'm sort of expecting for a lot of the patches that don't have the big content, right? So maybe we'll get procedural in this next one. Maybe we won't. Whatever. It'll get content locked soon enough. But I'm now going to, like, we have clothing that can get implemented now. We know we have a whole bunch of ships that are getting ready, and like look at all the Drake ships that we have. We have the Herald's going to be ready soon. The Caterpillar's almost ready. The Buccaneer will be pretty quick. We know the Dragonfly is coming in next week, but that's a tiny ship, and that should be in well. You have if they have the ability to add more missions now that they have the missions working properly.
The female avatar will probably be in very soon.
The female avatar sounds like it's going to be ready soon. The pirate station.
Yeah, I was to say, as Meyer calls it, Port Outlaw Isar, or whatever it was. What was it that you determined it?
Which I think will be probably Gold Horizon.
It's probably
Gold Horizon.
I swear somebody said that it was leaked that it was Gold Horizon by accident. Like QA guys or something accidentally.
This is what happened here. This is the worst thing ever. So, like 2 weeks ago on Inside the Verse, the I&M podcast, we were talking about this when they first mentioned that pirate station, the Outlaw station. And we're like, it's probably going to be Gold Horizon Station. We're like, yeah, we all kind of went on top, like, yeah, we agree it's probably going to be Gold Horizon Station. Someone listening to that took that, posted to Reddit, saying, it was just confirmed it's the Gold Horizon Station.
Oh, yes.
It became the top post. I went to Mods like, that's not what happened.
I forgot to mention, if you're watching this right now, either on YouTube or live, the one thing I will tell you is that everything we say is canon and completely official. Please post everything we talk about on the forums and about how it's confirmed by CIG devs.
Educated guesses.
Yes. No. We have no idea what we're talking about, but if you want to run around and call it confirmed, I have no problem with that.
If you really want to cause some problems, say Stoutman said that his brother-in-law said.
Yes, there we go. There we go.
Brian keeps telling everybody that he tells me everything. So
Yeah.
I say whatever I want, and I'm like Brian said.
Chris Roberts called me last night, and he told me
Well, everyone knows that you
coming tomorrow.
I was going to say, Dove, like everyone knows that you're paid by Chris Roberts to talk about the game.
That's why he stepped down from his position as a moderator and all that was because it was a conflict of interest with all the money he was getting from CIG.
Oh yeah, there was so much money. all those free ships and all those kickbacks that we all definitely get.
Yes, all of us Star Citizen Illuminati. Everyone in this is the Illuminati. So, but we got a lot that we're looking forward to in 2.5 and 2.6. And the one thing I'm actually looking forward to with 2.5 is the actual Outlaw Station itself, because I think that brings up some really fun mission ideas.
And I'm sick of having to wait in that stupid thing.
It's stupid.
You're
grounded, Saurus. You're grounded.
No,
timer needs to go.
The timer needs to go, or if they're going to do the jail thing, there needs to be a jail, not just sitting in your pod and ways to escape from it and all that.
Well, I think that if they have a jail mechanic, they should have a way that you can still escape from it.
Exactly.
But some sort of like mechanic or something that
and that could be another mission for the good guys too. The good guys' mission is to prevent people from escaping from jail.
Right.
Yeah, that'll actually give you something to do at Port or Korea.
Yeah.
So
I don't think we're going to see that soon, though. I think they'll just implement a place where pirates.
It'll be a mini game of crawling through the air vents trying to find your way.
Like a procedural generated maze.
That would be freaking hilarious.
Confirmed.
Yes. I do think, however, that what's going to happen is when they'll probably introduce jail system, and then when they introduce the piping system, you'll be able to break the lock somehow if you want to try to escape before your timer, or you can have jailbreaks where people can assault Korea and bust you out of jail and get you out before your timer goes up.
Do you reckon that the pirate base will have an armistice zone system like All-SR does? How would that work?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think the armistice zone in All-SR will work, but in the pirate system, because
I don't know. I think they might. This is the thing is with piracy and stuff like that. There's still not necessarily laws, but rules that you should be following. And I don't think CIG wants people to be just all gung-ho firing people as soon as they're spawning. Otherwise, you're going to get that, right? You're going to get those players that are just going to sit there and kill people as they're spawning in. And it's so I don't think... I think it'll be an armistice zone to start with, but maybe they may test the turrets or something like that. Or
it'll probably be when subsistence shows up. We'll probably
You're going to have to have armistice zones if it's any type of a respawn area. But the player-controlled stations,
and just like all of
those will be anything goes with no armistice. But any place where somebody's spawning, or you're going to have to let people spawn and you have a chance to get playing the game before somebody just snipes them.
Yeah. You have that issue with every single survival game that's out there, like using DayZ or something for an example. Like a developer says okay, we're gonna give disadvantages to someone who's just running around player killing to try to discourage it, but people can still do it, right? every time they have that like element in their head where they're like, all right, we're gonna put these elements in here that should discourage people from doing it. People don't give a fuck, and they just do it anyways.
It never
Never
works.
will.
Well, I'll tell you what has worked so far. That total 15-hour time to get back down from being an outlaw that it takes from level 5 now. I saw in the PTU it did change people's outlook. There are people that
Really?
kill just for the fun of it anymore. They have decided that they're going to be a bad guy. It's no longer a just
like if I go to level 5, I don't want to get rid of it. Like I'm like good. I don't have to worry about it going down, a level and having to go and do that again. I'm going to be good for a while. But I don't think anybody who doesn't want to be a pirate gets those levels.
Right.
It might get to level 1, maybe
Exactly.
by
Yeah, I
crashing
think
into a ship or
accidentally.
something like that. But if nobody is accidentally getting to level 5 pirate, if they don't want to be a pirate, and at that point it's like there's a mission to go bring your crime stat down, but it's like for
Why?
what? I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
It shouldn't be a mission. It should be an option, but it doesn't need to be a mission.
I mean,
Yeah,
if it was going to
I
be a
think it worked
mission,
out well, because that crime stat rating is very much a badge of honor for somebody that wants to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
You get, like you said, it's not something you can do by accident. You have to work your
Mhm.
ass off to get level 5. So when you get that level 5 crime stat rating, that is a badge of honor, and it really shows you put some effort into it. And you're not going to get there just by quote griefing. You're not, because
Right.
it requires more effort than griefing does.
and especially with level 5. And the one thing I will say is that there needs to be something, and this is a discussion I've had with other streamers as well. I'm a big fan of the FPS portion of the game. I know Source does it a lot when he streams.
Wait,
And-
Source does the FPS portion?
No.
Since
Yeah.
when?
Yeah. When did he start doing this?
Oh, just when it went live here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
live. Yeah, I started doing it.
But the one thing that I noticed is quite often the case is that people just don't go there because there's really no reason to go to Korea to kind of do any kind of
Yeah.
FPS.
So I was talking to Luke during the PTU, and there's a bunch of things that he came to me and asked what we could do to incentivize it. And there's a couple things that we've actually done. You may have noticed in the patch notes that the price per kill on those missions have gone up from 100 to 250, which I still don't think is enough, but is better than 100 UEC, right? Because that's how much you have to pay if you die or whatever. And then also the money being spawned in there. That's something that, while it's in that room right now, is better than nothing. It's 2100 UEC.
Mm-hmm.
And during the PTU, for a while, it was individual. So it was an individual spawn, and you could go pick it up. It's now global, but I still think that adds to that as well. And for
Right.
someone who's going to be there and hanging out, if nobody shows up, then you're at least getting rewarded. If somebody does show up, then you're being rewarded with combat, right? Something happening. Then on top of that, they also added the door, the security room, where you can see the doors cycling and stuff like that. So I used to run around and make sure all the doors are facing inside. So now instead of doing that, I can just fire. I still do that anyways, but I can fire one of my guys in that room, and they can tell me if a door is cycling or whatever. There's some other stuff too that I think would be really cool that we sort of talked about, like, and they tried it internally, it didn't work, which was putting an ICC probe in the bottom. So underneath the security station, there's that extra area that you can take to another room. So that doesn't work because then it's like some of the missions or whatever, like the defender mission, it doesn't really work with that. It sort of breaks it a little bit. And there was another suggestion, and this is what I had, was having that room turn on shields for the landing pads. So being able to turn on individual shields for each of the landing pads, so they have their own shield, kind of like a ship does. So if a ship was parked there, it was invulnerable. But you could go inside and turn off those shields and then go back out and blow up those ships or whatever. So, yeah, I don't know if they're going to do that, but they've sort of put in everything else I was suggesting. So that was.
I was going to say the other thing you could do is replace the reduce your outlaw mission with some kind of heist. Like where if you go in, you can get like information, like security code information. And
Right. So
yeah,
like instead of just hacking your stuff and it just going down, maybe get an incentive to bring it down, right?
Yeah.
So maybe if you're at level 5 and you get to level 1 or if you hack all the way down from level 5, you also get a bunch of insider information or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
That is like the liquor bottles right now. It just converts to UEC.
Or just going there to get outlaw missions would be something
Or
another
that as well.
there too.
Yeah, that would be sweet. As it stands right, I mean, I didn't go to Crya at all pretty much before 2.4. Once they started introducing the various missions for it is when I started going there. First it was I got the be a good guy mission. I went in there and I defended, and I had fun with that. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then I got my outlaw status and realized it was going to take me, because I was like level 3 outlaw, and I realized it was going to take me 8 hours or something to get back to level 1 if I did nothing. I went there to hack my way down, and that's when I really discovered the fun of it, because when you're hacking your way down, it takes a while. And people are constantly trying to stop you, both good guys and bad guys.
Yeah, my first time doing it, I was accidentally got a level 1, one of those, like, I blew myself up in like the in Port Alsar, and it gave me like the bugged you're constantly a criminal thing. And so what I did was I went to go try to remove it by going to Korea. And I managed to get in. I hit the button, and then all of a sudden I see this another guy walk up and turn it off. And in the middle of it, I'm like, "Who the hell was that?" And so I popped around the corner and I shot him, and it turned out to be Saurus. But it was one of those one of those moments where it was just the first time someone had actually walked up and stopped my my decriminal thing.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody else do that yet, by the way. I've turned it off for a few people.
Yeah, I do it whenever I'm in there. If I don't care, if I'm a good guy or bad guy, if I say and I turn it off, I just automatically do it.
Yeah, if I hear it, that's the first thing I do. Is normally they're hiding on the at the back computers around the little wall and ducking down. So we'll go there and check, and I would say 4 out of 5 times they're like, "How'd you know I was there?" I was
like everyone hides there.
That's where people hide.
I actually was hiding around the corner from those computers in that little corner, because I thought, I'll just chill here, and I was looking for the because I forgot which way was the way to get the salvage, the whiskey bottles. And as I turn around, as I'm looking around, I hear the I'm like, what? And as I turn around, I see this pirate armor walking back away from the console. I'm like, fuck you.
I feel like they've made progress incentivizing people going to Korea, but at the moment, for me, I feel like it's still kind of lacking.
It's not enough.
Yeah, I mean, as you said before, they bumped it up from 150 to 250, killing somebody, but still, that's really cheap for taking a life. I mean, you can game the system. You could, if you're a streamer, you can get 20 people in there and you can gun them all down and grind them. But, I mean, 250 for a life is ridiculous.
It is low. When I was talking to Luke, I was like, look, it needs to be close to 1,000.
Yeah,
800 to 1,000, because not only is it difficult when you're playing against another player, it's always going to be more difficult than AI or anything like that. But number 2 is, especially with the latency and stuff right now, it's sort of like a thing in the air. So if you do get those kills, then you should get rewarded for it.
Right.
And but likewise, I think that if you die there, you should also lose money. And right now, I don't think you are.
You removed it.
That you should. If you get kills, you should get rewarded either from the pirate side or the good guy side or whatever. And if you're neutral, maybe you don't get rewarded at all, right?
Yeah,
so maybe it forces you to choose something.
Right.
But if you die, either side, whatever, you have to pay your hospital fees.
Yeah, medical bills.
Honestly, I assume, didn't we have that at the very beginning of 2.4?
It was kind of in there, but a low number.
Yeah, it was like 250 credits for whenever you died. I remember that.
And they removed that because people were dying from bugs and complaining about it.
And not being. And I remember I was in one of those situations. There was 3 days. I know some of you watched this happen. There were 3 days for me where I couldn't leave Port Olisar because I had the bug without a jetpack, but I didn't
that was
have
a fun
enough
bug
money to buy a new suit, and so I couldn't complete a single mission. I couldn't do a single mission, except for people on, except for trying to land on Karaya and going in there and killing people. But the only way for me to do that was to actually land and get out of my ship, and you know how difficult that is. And you land and you're gunned, and that's what every time I'd land, I get gunned down immediately. And finally, the last day, I managed to get in Karaya and complete a mission enough to earn the jetpack. The game crashes, and it's because they were doing a server update. They updated, they wiped everything, and so I started back with brand new stuff. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Finally, after 3 days of trying this,
I can tell you this though: for the incentives in Korea, it was working. I don't think anybody during the PTU. Now live is going to be different, but during the PTU, I ended up making in one patch before it got wiped over 220K.
Yeah, I watched that. That was impressive.
Yeah.
Just
And-
in Korea.
That was just Korea.
He
Yeah.
was just
Just
killing people and grabbing the bottles of whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing they've done with the salvage in Korea. It really is to incentivize people going in there.
No, they are going to randomize it as well. So right now it's in the back room, but it's going to be randomized throughout there. So it's a
Oh,
lot.
that's amazing.
It's not like automatically this is where I go and I pick it up, and if somebody kills me, then it's
Yes. So like, do you think in the future we'll be able to like rummage through like the crates that we see and like
kind of. I think it'll still for the near future, anyways. It'll still sort of show up the way that it does now. It's not like rummaging around or anything. It'll still show like a crate with a bottle on it, but it might be up on the third floor behind that little console, or in the corner, or on the second floor in the medical room, or in one of the armories behind the weapons rack. Right, you have a box there, and what they could do is sort of spread those out throughout the entire thing, so it forces people to move around in there, because that's sort of the next thing, right? There's basically two places that people hang out. I try and move around because it does give you an advantage, but most people just try and either watch the loot room and just camp there, or camp in the security room.
That's great. I was hoping for that, because right now all people do is go in there and camp in there.
Yep.
And it's kind of immersion breaking and dull, but at the same time
And we don't have grenades. We need grenades to clear them out of there.
Exactly. And
Fun fact for that: you can go up beside that room and see their dot through the wall.
Oh, really?
So, because your proximity, right? So it's the same thing with the security room.
Oh yeah.
You go up against the side, you can see if there's a dot there,
Yeah.
and then you know whether to just go in like guns blazing. It's a lot easier to deal
They're
with.
two completely different games. I remember when DayZ, loot was in specific places, like on tables and stuff. All of a sudden, one patch, and then like loot is under tables, in nooks and crannies. And when I saw salvage in Korea, I was like, so this kind of like sets the precedent for going into any kind of place for salvage. I know that it's not going to be too long until the loot is going to stop being instant money. It was meant in like the first couple of sentences of this week's ATV, and they said that they're implementing selling, perhaps maybe 2.5. I don't know when.
Yeah.
They're talking about how they were, adding almost every single item that's currently planned for the verse into the database, including livestock and stuff like that. So I'm thinking that in the future we'll have to go to Korea, collect the bottles, and then deliver them back to OLSR. Now what I'm thinking, or at least what I'm hoping, is that if you die, you lose it.
Right.
Yeah. So
and somebody else can come and pick it up.
Yeah, exactly. That's the ultimate goal.
And that's what you want, right? Because then that gives me reason to go as a pirate to go and run down and hunt down ships and try and steal their stuff.
Yeah.
It's the birth of cargo. Yeah.
So it would also be the birth
mentioned
of
a few times that in the near future, the next two large game mechanics we're going to get is either going to be mining or
shipping
or cargo.
Right.
mechanics. Like
And honestly, I
for a long
don't
time.
You can't do mining without cargo.
Cargo.
So
I would
we
think
need
cargo
cargo
would
first.
come in first. It's the most important thing after combat.
It really is. Yeah, cargo is it's honestly it's more important for the game than combat is.
Yeah.
I mean, cargo is the linchpin for how everything else in the game works.
Yeah.
I will say that probably the most important thing is actually not cargo, but it's actually inventory. And so we have to have inventory in order to have cargo. So I think either this next patch or the 2.6, I'm pretty sure this next patch we'll have an inventory system, a basic inventory system, so we can collect things and put it on our person, or we would like it'll be able to store it, and we'll have a maximum amount of things we can carry, at least a temporary version, and then we can take ourselves to our ship, and then maybe unload it on the ship, or just kind of fly with the ship out to with the stuff back to where you need to go sell it. But I don't think we're going to have a system where you like buy livestock at Port Olisar and go to some random station in Yella and sell it. I think it's going to be more salvage, find things and then sell it for this next one.
And do you think they would make it so it's specific places that you can sell it?
Yes, there's going to be specific places. And I'm assuming that like there'll be a place like you may not even be able to sell it in Port Olisar. You may have to like go to Arcor to Dumper's Depot and sell it.
Well, Covalix is supposed to be a shipping hub. Maybe maybe there'll be another one that actually works, or maybe that one will eventually come online.
Yeah, or that could easily be where you salvage that stuff.
There's just like not finished areas in Port Olisar right now. There's like under construction areas.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of areas in Olisar that could be made.
entire
like,
locked off areas where
Oh,
I
yeah.
think they even
access
want to
to.
create the tunnels that go from one side to the other.
Well, if you clip into it, I think all of us have done this. You can tell there's huge, just open areas in there that they have planned something to go inside those areas.
Yeah, they're
It's
just
quite massive.
they're part of the station toolbox. I think is what they call it. The like how they have like the palette for the stations that they can just kind of mix and match everything together. I assume that not all of the interiors are finished yet. Is the issue? Is that they're just waiting to do all the interiors for all the different toolboxes? So.
I was actually pretty surprised that with port modification didn't actually come an inventory system of any sort.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so surprising. I mean, like,
Well,
you could change your clothes. Like, how do I remove them? Oh, well, to remove your clothes, you're going to have to go back to the store and then, like,
Yeah.
find the
Well, it's from a design and a database point of view. Is they're building stuff in a logical order. You need this in place before you can do this, and then you can do that. And they're doing it very small baby steps.
Yeah.
The base needs to be really solid.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have a personal inventory where we can open up our pack and see what's on our pack. And then we're going to be able to have cargo where we can put stuff in a box, and then the box is going to be able to go on the ship. So it's going to be a very orderly, logical step, and you're building out the database and expanding the database piece by piece.
Yep.
And they're testing it in small chunks, so if something goes wrong, they can easily identify and easily fix it without having to.
And here's the thing: is as much as I think all of us have lamented port modification at some point for its problems. I mean, it's cool on one hand, and it's really problematic on the other. But the thing about port modification is it is simply a tool to allow us to interact with the database. It is not an end-all be-all system at all. It is a very the fastest thing, the quickest thing they can apply for us to use.
It is the most basic version of that system that's imported. It's not even finished yet.
And the reason why we don't have the holotable along with it is frankly probably because the holotable isn't compatible with the new item port system. And that's the
holotable is garbage, anyways.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Can we just take a moment
and try to make it compatible? They're going to build a new one.
Can we
You just want to work with one system, not two, when you're making changes.
Can we get a moment of silence for the holotable?
No,
please.
no.
Please,
It's coming back. It's not
and
dead.
please,
That
salute.
implies
Doesn't deserve it.
Please do
Yeah.
the
It's
one
just
finger
cryogenically
salute.
frozen.
The one finger salute to the to the death of the holotable.
Yeah, I've given it the one finger salute more often.
But I mean, like that's probably honestly one of the best parts of 2.4 is the holotable is gone. I am so tired of that.
At the same side, though, there have been plenty of times where I wished I had it. Like when I'm swapping out each missile one by one.
Yeah.
Where's the fucking holotable?
Well, the other thing with that is we don't even have the ability to choose what missile you're firing. So it's like why? Like I get why they're making that, but I'm surprised that we don't have that in yet.
Yeah, right now you can choose which missile you're firing if you happen to know exactly the sequence that your particular missile rack fires in, and you load up the missiles in that sequence. That's the only way to do it.
But you couldn't, if you had 4 and 4, you couldn't be like, oh, I know this guy is going to have to switch to his EM stuff or whatever, or his chaff instead of flare. It's like, well, yeah.
And the frustrating part about that is you can actually go in through your HUD and activate specific missiles, but you still can't get those specific missiles to be the ones that lock and fire. Like you can shut down all missiles but one. You lock on, it's going to lock one of the shutdown ones on instead of the one that you've got running. It's like, what? There's no power to those.
Well, they need to have missile groups. Like missile group 1 is this type, missile group 2 is that. That's what
It'd be nice if they did it the same way that they do chaff and flare, right? Where you switch with the same button, but to fire them, you hold them down.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of getting that to work properly. But I think one of the things they're waiting for is the piping system to come in, the proper piping system, because the proper piping system will then be able to be like, oh, I want to bring power to this missile versus this missile, as well as being able to tell which missiles are broken and which ones aren't. You know, because right now it's like, oh, you got hit in the front of your nose and your nose cannon's gone. Guess what? Both of the missiles that are on the back of your ship are gone too. It's like, what? Where's the logic in this shit right now? But, you know, once the piping system comes in, it makes a little bit more sense. So you have the power that goes to the actual missile racks to keep them going. Then you can kind of, maybe you can have control through that piping as well. They'll have that control system so that if it's damaged in some way, you won't be able to select missiles. You just be able to fire. So there's probably a lot of issues, probably a lot of things as to why they're doing it. Also, probably, and this happens a lot with CIG, is they just haven't thought about it. So often it's just like, well, we haven't really thought about that. So, and Captain Xylo's here. Speaking of CIG.
Crap.
Everyone stop talking about Captain Xylo.
Show's over.
Xylo.
I'm actually, when it comes to games like Star Citizen with MMOs, I'm pretty much a fashion whore, and so I'm okay with what we have so far, but I'm kind of excited going forward what kind of fashions we'll see.
More. Yes, I want something besides t-shirts and jackets. Damn it.
Yeah, I mean, or more than loafers. We have like 17 different like colors of the same loafer.
And not a single pair of cargo pants. What the hell is that crap? Who made that decision?
Until they give me a
Pants are in
reason.
the window. Why can't we put them on?
The reason you weren't here for that, were you, Stout Man?
Right.
Over a year ago now, when they were first designing the just doing the concept art for the various
For the outlaws,
Clothing?
especially.
for there was cargo pants.
Or
everywhere.
no, it was the bartender. It was the bartender.
Yeah, and every single one of the concepts had cargo pants on it, and Chris vetoed it and said no cargo pants whatsoever. Just flat out vetoed all cargo
Yeah, I heard about that.
pants. So
But
But
there's cargo pants in the
until
window.
until they have a reason for me to wear clothes, like if there's a downside to wearing armor, I'm one of those people that I don't give two shits about
Yeah.
whatever. My armor looks cool, and I'm in the armor, and I'm happy with that. I don't need clothes. And it's a liability to be in clothes if you're going to be running around ships or you're going to be on space stations and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so it just makes sense. Unless they make it so it's
advantageous. Like
advantageous, yeah.
So I think that's the other key, is that to make things like you move faster in clothing than you do in armor, or you move faster in suits.
well,
Or maybe it uses your oxygen supply when you're in armor.
Yeah,
or
that too.
Whatever, or whatever. Maybe there's batteries or something. Who knows? But there needs to
come
be
in time.
something. Otherwise, I'm never me personally, and
Never
people
gonna-
like me will never wear clothes. There's no point.
Yeah. Well, I'm the same thing. For me right now, what I wear all the time is that gold and black spacesuit, because it's it's test squadron colors, and that's and since there's no real advantage to having armor over a spacesuit or having a spacesuit over clothing, it's just whatever I like the best that
Yeah.
it fits my character at this point. And you're absolutely right. If there was an advantage to armor, like it actually protected me, I'd be wearing armor all the time. Or if
Right.
the clothing had a use, beyond just being clothing, I'd wear the clothing when I'm on, say, an Olisar or whatnot. But right now, I'm just always going to wear this one suit because it's the suit I
Definitely
like.
excited for when we get armor, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's one thing to be running around in heavy armor and run out because they definitely have the running. You can only run
So
much
fast.
shorter with with the heavy armor, but there's no benefit to it. Like, it looks cool, it makes you a bigger target, but that's about it.
They're implementing stuff in baby steps. I
Yeah.
keep pointing that out because everybody expects, they add something.
There
It's
was-
fully featured from the front, from the start. It's not going to be.
there was a point where heavy armor allowed you to carry more weapons, for example, and I don't know what happened with that. I don't know if that was a bug and it was taken out later, or if it was something they did deliberate and didn't like it and they took it out later.
I think
remember-
you'll be able to. Like, I don't think with the everything can carry the same thing right now, right?
Yeah.
And it's the first implementation of all the different suits and being able to purchase them and all this other
Yeah.
stuff. But I'm pretty sure, being able to carry 2 weapons on a flight suit is not going to happen. Being able to carry 4 or 5 clips or magazines of ammunition, not going to happen. Being able to carry the sidearm plus a bunch of grenades and things like the gadgets and things like that is just not going to happen until you get into the actual armor sets.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's where you'll be able to carry a lot more of that stuff.
Also things like I anticipate things like utility belts or backpacks
Right.
or things that you'll have to wear that you'd have to sacrifice something else for that'll give you more slots. But if you have a backpack, you can't have an EDA suit because
I'm
it
actually
takes up
looking
the same
forward to
stuff.
seeing what they have in store for the heavier armors. I mean, if you read the description, for the
The-
cast arms, heavy
Yeah,
one.
the Titan armor.
Not
really
the
heavy
tight one.
Oh, I want the Titan armor.
The black and red one, the heavy outlaw.
the heavy LI, yeah.
Yeah. It says in the description that it has slots for attachments. Now I'm interested
Yeah.
in what those attachments are. What will they do?
So from what I understand, those attachments are things like grenades and gadgets and carrying them on the outside.
I see.
But you will see them physically. What my thing is, I want heavy outlaw. I want an underslung chain gun. That's what I really want.
You want to look like the Fallout power armor.
Yeah, similar.
Fallout
Similar.
power armor.
There's that one beam gun that they once featured.
Yeah, the microwave gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still in the game. It's in what is it now? It's in Area 18 as you're going into customs.
Yep, it's sitting in the.
Yeah.
And it's been floating around the game files for a while now, and
Yeah.
actually, if you dig through the files, the animations and like that thing works.
Yeah, no, all the weapons work. There's still a bunch of aren't there like 2 or 3 more weapons which are in game which work, but we don't have.
Well, think of all that concept too from Behringer.
Yeah, like the submachine gun, the
bearing?
the P4 the P4 submachine gun, and then the
Yeah.
there's like wasn't there also like a slug thrower for the shotgun that they were doing or something like that? I know that they're at least in concepts for both of those, and in lore they have them as well. So, but yeah, no, the one thing that I'd like to see, which I don't know if it's going to see it or not, with these armors, is that with spacesuits they actually have to have their own power supply for their heating and cooling, as well as things like oxygen and water for them and all that kind of stuff. So having suits have a power supply, which is it's future, so like 30 minutes to like for like a smaller suit, but like 4 hours for the big suits, or reversed or something like that, whatever way you want to balance it, will give it some more authenticity, and it gives you a reason to be like, I'm not going to be wearing my armor if I'm not in combat, because so something like that, and it still works, because in reality that's kind of how everything
I'd like to see that.
Dovlak is missing. So if you guys are interested in asking any questions to the cast, individually, as a group, if you want to ask us official CIG questions, we will answer them, having no idea what we're talking about. But then you can
not true. I'm private messaging with Xylo right now, so I will get the answers from him, and they can be official, and you guys can go and post it on Reddit and say Xylo says.
And then Stoutman, Brian Chambers tells Stoutman everything. So.
I just text Brian a question. He texts it back, so I can answer all your questions.
And since Dovlak,
I'm just going to interrupt here for a second, real quick. A bird just ran into my window on the second floor and died.
Did it leave like an imprint shaped like the bird?
No, not a full imprint, but there is a smear. There's a bird.
When I was a kid, we had a dove that slammed into our window at full speed, and it left this perfectly dove-shaped dust imprint on the window. We left it there for a long time because it was just so.
There's just a dead bird on the sidewalk now.
But yes, feel free to ask us any kind of questions. We'll do our best to answer them, even trolley questions. But no, we only have so much time, because I know some people have guests coming over or family they're doing, because it is summer, or it's really fucking late for them, depending on who they are.
And don't listen to Xylo when he says it's 100% a lie. It's not. Yeah. Xylo's just lying about it being a lie.
I would like to talk about the procedural planets, because Brian Chambers did go on to your stream and talk about their current testing of procedural planets, Saurus. So I do want to talk about, when do you guys think, and to what degree do you think we will see procedural planets in the near future?
I've actually been thinking about this for a long time, and as what you guys were talking about earlier, when so CG has said for a long time that the next core game mechanic we're going to get is either going to be mining or it's going to be cargo, and all universally everyone thinks like, okay, it's definitely going to be cargo because the stuff for mining just isn't really there yet. That said, I can totally see them implementing their asteroid tech, using like their procedural asteroid tech before mining is kind of like a half step,
right?
Fairly soon, like
implemented the same way that salvaging is now, where you just automatically you're just mining money.
Yeah.
Aside.
Oh, no, not even that. Not even mining. Period. Like just all asteroids in the game are now like their procedural asteroid tech, just to get their tech in there.
Technically, the Gila asteroid belt is a procedural asteroid belt.
Yeah.
Except for there are some asteroids.
Right. There's the clusters that are placed with the spawn points. Mm-hmm. I don't believe those are procedural, but the rest of it is procedural, I believe.
We'd have to figure that out, but I think they have.
I don't think all of it is. I think it's procedurally placed, but not.
Right. That's what I mean. Placed.
Yeah.
Not the asteroids themselves are procedural, but the belt is. Yeah.
Yeah. I think like maybe we'll get like an actual display of the planetary tech. Because they've said that they're going to use their procedural planetary tech on asteroid stuff.
So you think we'll get like the belt will become thicker from now?
Yeah, and if you get some of those asteroids, they're not very high res. Like you can't land on them right now.
Well, also remember how small that asteroid is.
You can land on them, but it looks really weird when you do. I don't know if you've actually landed on them and walked around, but you get this weird parallaxing shader effect from because
it's weird.
Yeah, it's funky.
You can't like sink below the ground, kind of.
Yeah.
Like the floor is like below the texture.
You can't really land on them. You have to like eject out of your ship
Yeah.
when you're on it. It's kind of weird.
But like asteroid belts are like the full orbit around like a star, right? Like
Right.
if you think of our asteroid belt in our solar system or any big ones, right? That's sort of how it is, except for with the exception of like Saturn or whatever, where they have the rings. You have these giant asteroid belts, and that's what I'm really excited to see is some big giant asteroid belt like that you can like literally get lost in.
Yeah. Or as Meyer says, the Kuiper Belt.
Yeah.
The just
Word
massive.
belt, Kuiper belt, yeah.
So, but do you think that we'll get like, say, Nyx style landing zone will be the first kind of landing for planets?
Probably.
Or do you
Probably,
think we'll have
yeah.
like be able to land it?
I would not be
Crusader or
surprised at
whatever.
all if it showed up at 2.5. I
Yeah.
would not be surprised at all.
Yeah, 'cause they've been pushing Nyx for a while and talking about it and hinting
Yeah.
at it. And it's
And the fact that Brian is now openly talking about them testing the procedural planets on multiple streams, even on Around the Verse, I think it was, he talked about it, or one of those,
Yep.
Reverse to Verse. But I think, yeah, they're reaching a point where they think that they are comfortable with showing off the first iteration of it to us and giving us a chance to mess around with it. So I would not be surprised at all if it shows up in 2.5.
Yeah. Do you guys think that we will get ship parts in 2.5?
I hope so.
Mhm.
Maybe they should
I love that, but I don't think we're going to be seeing that.
Well, right now there's a
soon.
real problem with that, and that's that rental equipment does not apply into the universe, and you can't purchase equipment or purchase ships with the Alpha UAC. So it runs into a situation where in the universe you are stuck with what you have. That's it. There is no, you're earning your money doesn't help you there.
How long have you that's sort of a good thing to segue off on, but how long do you think it's going to be before they implement being able to buy ships? I think it's going to be longer than we expect.
Yeah,
it's going to be, that's a ways down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Way
think
from
3 months, maybe 3-4 months. I don't think it's going to be the end of the year. I think it's going to be within the end of the summer.
I really hope it's sooner than that because I think it's going to have a negative. The longer it goes without it, it's going to have a big negative effect on people wanting to play the universe.
Yeah.
Because they're going to run into
But at the same
scenarios-
time, that's kind of their cash cow. And not to
Yeah.
be that guy, but it's like once they implement that where you don't have to be backing for the thing, and I know a lot of people feel that they have enough money now, whether you feel that way or not, or that's the truth or not, is I think that them implementing that would severely hinder the amount of money that goes into it.
I don't think it would because Rec was essentially the same thing, and I don't think Rec ever slowed down the amount of money going in at all.
I think they're not going to implement buying ships in game with the UAC because anytime soon because they're still wiping the money and all the items we buy too frequently because people are going to work their ass off to buy a ship and then the next day it gets wiped. They're going to be screaming.
You also have to remember
It's not going to be that soon.
those wipes were going on in the PTU. You're not going to see those wipes on live.
Yeah.
You're going to see a monthly wipe on live, sure, but you're not going to see a new patch wipe every day. Once it goes to live, that's it. It's on there for a live.
Right, but it's going to take a while to earn a ship, and people aren't going to want to spend a couple weeks grinding and then only get the ship for a week or two until the next patch.
Well, I think that's another good point, though, is that will also hinder the amount of people who are just like, well, I'll just earn it in there. I'm not going to worry about buying it. I think there'll still be an incentivization to buy it because you can still buy it now rather than having to work 2 weeks to buy it and
Well,
then get it wiped.
I don't know. That's essentially what Rec was, though. I mean, Rec was you only got it for a limited time, anyways.
Not in
I
the
don't-
universe though. When you bought it for the universe, it was like either a bug or a feature where if you wrecked a ship and you just never went into Arena Commander, your ship because I
Well,
had a
that's
Vanguard.
because technically speaking, yeah, it's only supposed to count when you log into Arena Commander, and that was a bug for some people, and it was the opposite for others. Like in my case, it never worked that way for me. I always, no matter what I did, if I logged into Star Citizen, whether it be PTU or live, it used up a day of my rec rentals every time.
Mhm.
And that was always a bug with me. And we went back, customer service and I tried to figure it out a couple months ago. And we just gave up on it. I was like, you know what, screw it. I make enough rec that it really doesn't hurt me that bad. But,
and I do think at the end of the day, it needs to be tested. Like there's some people in there saying, and people in chat have been saying, like, oh, it'll never come out or until launch. I think at the end, you're gonna have to test it because it's part of the game.
And I don't see them holding it back because they're afraid it's going to interfere with sales. Because Rec didn't interfere with sales either. If it did, it was, it didn't do it enough to prevent them from shooting up to over 100 million.
You could easily limit it to only a couple of ships because it's testing. So you can be like, oh, you can get an Aurora, a Mustang, an Avenger, a Hornet, a Freelancer, or a Constellation. Because that's all that's in stock or something like that.
Beyond that, if they make it clear from the start, and it should be clear from the start, that just like when you buy those suits, those guns, etc., you're only buying it until the next server wipe. Mm-hmm. There goes. If you don't want to deal with losing the server wipe, that's why you go and you actually buy one with real money. Just like with Rec. If you didn't want to have to keep re-renting the damn thing, you bought it. And I know a lot of people did that. They would rent something, decide they liked it, and went out and bought the ship when it was on sale.
That's the question exactly. I mean, what are we talking about? Using Alpha UEC to get ships?
When do you think using Alpha UEC to get ships will be in game, and do you think it'll be sooner or later?
It's buying a ship is not much different from buying a gun, and they've already got that basic mechanic implemented. So you really don't, it's not really anything new to add. It's just the ability to do it and
interface. It's the interface of doing it. That's the big one.
We've had the Rec system. And with the Rec system for the past few patches, you could have gotten a ship and then used it in Crusader anyway. Right now, you can't.
Yeah. Right now, you can't.
I don't see why you can't just go to Cryastro and rent a ship from there using Alpha UEC. And
that's what I'm thinking. We're going to have something like that. It'll be called, quote, purchasing a ship. But, for all intents and purposes, it's a rental until the next server wipe.
Why not just call it rental? I mean, it's alpha. You're not using your character. You're using.
I think they should do the rental because then that's a smaller purchase. We're only paying for a week's worth of rental.
Or maybe give both options. Maybe give a rental thing for those people that are just playing once in a while, and give a purchase to someone. I have 200,000 UEC sitting in my account that I'm not doing anything with. Let me spend that on stuff. Give me money sinks.
CIG might be way ahead of us on this part because if you remember correctly, if you listen to the announcements at Port Olisar, one of them is join the ship share program, where you don't have to. You can help save your resources. Yeah. That could easily be the implementation. It's just a ship quote.
Well, that sounds to me like it's advertising a
ride share. I know
ride share, yeah, but
it could easily be a ride share in the sense that there's what is it, Zip. Right now, where you can just go pick up a car instead of having to rent it, you can just use it.
There's a couple other things that need to be put in. I think honestly that we need more starting currency for people in general. Not much more, but more than 2,700. And I'm not sure where to put it at. Maybe 10,000, something like that. Just give a little bit more of a boost for starting, especially for those people that don't play as often as people like me and Saurus and what because.
Yeah, I anticipate in live, all of us will be rolling in the money in a week. We'll have so much money we won't know what to do with.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have everything purchased, and then I'll be like, okay, what do I spend it on now?
I think the idea of actually purchasing a ship is kind of unnecessary for the alpha, simply because, you're going to have the vocal people like, oh my god, CIG, I purchased this Hornet using my Alpha UEC. Why is it that when the database got wiped, it's gone? When you could have just gone back to Cryastro, rented it for another 7 days, some people's minds.
Yeah, but that's...
I don't think you're going to see that as much as you think, though.
Yeah, it's everybody an argument regardless.
Nobody's complaining that, I lost my spacesuit and my gun, all the wreck. Or my UEC and stuff. They know that the wipes are going to happen, and that's inevitable.
Well, I was when I got stuck in that situation where I couldn't do anything because I didn't have enough credits to buy a suit to replace the one that was broken. I was pretty pissed about that.
Well, we need to implement secure trading where you could give somebody money or give them.
That
should be coming pretty soon. I
think the ability to give money should be a top priority because again, for example, you got somebody like Saurus. He's got 200,000 UEC. He's bought everything he wants to buy. He's still running around making more. Then he can sit there and he can advertise on his on the chat. Hey, look, I'll pay you guys 10,000 UEC to come and join me in Karaya to help defend it.
Yeah. Or you can start to do your own bounties.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Listen, Berserker just killed me, finally. and that really pissed me off. Pay to the first person who kills him.
Yeah.
And then get a video clip or a screenshot. I'll give you 50K UEC in game.
Yeah. And
this is something I've been thinking about for a long time. So UEC is not like a physical item.
It's digital information. Yeah.
It's a future digital currency. You inject it into your eyeballs to get space drug high. Yeah. Go back alleys, get some space money to some space drug dealers, get some space drugs.
Yeah.
But do you guys think we'll be able to do like long distance trading for UEC at least? Like, is that a concept that would even like?
Oh, you
work?
mean like hey, my
like
cousin
currency
in Terra needs money and I'm in Stanton, so I space Western Union.
Space wire.
Yeah, so
It'll probably be bank systems.
You do bank transfers.
Yeah, but it'll probably take some time. It'll probably take like whatever universe limiting factor it is. So it'll probably be like
You got the communication delays.
Yeah, so
You
Or
both have to be in like a UEC zone, you know.
yeah,
or
you have
even
to be
thinking,
to
like-
like an actual bank to get it out or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So think of like how WoW did it, right? So if you wanted to send money to somebody, you had to go to your mailbox or to the bank or whatever and send it through that. And not only your money, but items. So this would be something that would come in maybe later on where you want to send somebody some weapons, you want to send them the uniform for whatever when you go to FPS or whatever. You can send them all that stuff. And here's 10,000 just for joining and being a part of us. And then that could turn into a mission where somebody has to like take that over and have those couriers, either AI do it or actual players be able to do that as well.
We've talked about that. You buy
flesh that out
something
even
that's
more.
shipped, and it creates a mission for somebody to take. Or all these bank transfers. Well, that's where you got all these heralds for. They're going to be transferring all these bank records from planet to planet, and that's how long it takes for the transfer to get done.
Yeah.
I think that level of realism is just going to get kind of annoying in a general sense. Like, it makes sense in something like World of Warcraft because like we're sending gold, right? You know, and WoW it has like a weird thing where like mail takes like an hour to show up, but you can kind of like fake it if you log off and they send it and you log back in and it'll be there instantly.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of janky that way, but like people kind of put up with that because it's like a 10-year-old MMO at this point. It's allowed to be kind of fucked up.
That's my bad.
That was crazy on stream all of a sudden.
So you know,
Moth just flew into my face.
WoW's allowed to be WoW's allowed to be
killed by a moth.
fucked up, but you know it's like a physical currency, so you have to either be there with the person or that kind of thing, or like worst case, like a travel time in WoW nowadays is like 2 minutes and you're across the fucking universe. Like it doesn't take a long time to get anywhere in that game anymore. In Star Citizen, you know, we're talking about like other sides of UEE space, which could take, you know, 20, 30, 40 minutes to get to, you know. What if, you know, your buddy's over there, I need to wire some space currency to him so he can start loading up the whole E or whatever while I get there to escort him, right? I think that level of like, oh, I gotta land my whole E, and I gotta log off and log back on and log off. Oh, it showed up this time. Thanks. Yeah,
I don't think it'll work like that. I think it'll take the actual time that it takes an AI character or a player to go and do that, and that's what CIG wants to do with this stuff.
Right.
That's the whole point of creating all of these different types of missions and being able to flesh out a lot of these jobs. It just doesn't make sense. Why would you have something like that where you have heralds, where you have all these shipping ships and everything else, just to completely ignore the fact that you could even do this with them?
Because it's not fun. Because it's not fun.
But it's not fun for who? At what point?
Well, I'm saying there's
It's
a
not fun
level
for who?
of-
The people that are space truck drivers. That's what they want to do.
Yeah.
Well, but it's because Star Citizen is not Arma. It's not like an ultra crazy sim.
Yeah,
like
but it's going to have sim elements.
But it's gonna have sim elements. But you also need
it's sim
something
elements.
that creates
The point is, it's
these
about
jobs
striking,
for people.
it's about striking the delicate balance of usability in an MMO to keep the long-term player base without scaring off people because it's completely fucking unusable. It might be hyper realistic and that simulation might be really cool, but like if you're trying to play the game, it fucking sucks.
There's going to be some delays. It's just not going to be it.
WTF's got a point there. I mean, there's no point in having the information runner business or profession or ships or anything like that if there are ways around that the instantaneous
Not with some stuff. Like, I'm not saying like all information, like bounties and all that stuff. I'm saying for the typical what we're talking about right now, it's just the context of currency, like.
It's like sending money or items. I don't think they should be instant.
Yeah,
I don't think saying
it's the same thing with respawning ships, right? Even if you can afford to pay off your deductible, we know that it's going to take time.
It's not the same thing, though. It's not the same thing at all.
But it is the same thing.
It's not.
So if you're looking at, okay, it's more expensive to get an 890 jump. So once you've blown up your 890 jump, it takes maybe a month for you to get that back. But that's assuming that all those trade lines for all the materials and stuff go through. If there's a delay on that, then it gets delayed even more. And then, so if they're going to put that much detail into that, why wouldn't they just have something where it's literally just another person taking it from point A to point B? It just, in all reality, it just doesn't make sense that they would implement that and not implement this.
Because in game design, when you're making a video game, like, you might want to simulate a world. Like, okay, some of the stuff isn't fun. Like, you have to realize that.
I understand. I understand that.
Who isn't it fun to?
Anybody.
But here's the thing. Here's the problem. I understand what Dovek's saying is that sometimes you're going to have to gamify it because it's just boring.
Some stuff's not fun.
But
we have taxes. There are going to be UE taxes. Do you want to sit down and fill out your forms, Source? Because
no, but I'm not.
You want to fill out your tax forms in first because that's realistic.
But
that's not what we're saying, Dovek. That's not what we're saying.
What I'm saying. What I'm saying. I'm not saying you have to go to the post office and fill out all your information and send who it's going to and all this other stuff. What I'm saying is the time that it takes to travel somewhere that creates that mission for somebody.
Yeah.
Complete. And if somebody jacks that or steals that, then it's
and see, here's the thing to think about with information runners. Part of the reason why you hire an information runner is he has the knowledge, the navigation charts, all that to move faster than the communication channels do. That's part of his job. And so let's say it's in game, it takes an hour for me to transfer 1 million UEC from me to Dovak, normally over the distance that we're apart. But I hire Saurus, who is an information runner, and he knows how to do it in 15 minutes, jump from where I am to where Dovak is in 15 minutes. That's where that comes into play, is that now I hire Saurus to do it instead and pay him a percentage or whatever he charges for running it. But that cost, that difference, it gets to Dovak faster.
Yeah,
why are you sending a ship to pick up goods without money to pay for it? Come on, plan ahead.
But what I'm saying is there is going to be wait times for a lot of these things. We know that they're implementing those wait times.
Right.
Get it. Wait times aren't fun for the people that have to wait, but the shipping mechanic of that or the herald running or whatever, though that's fun for people and that creates more gameplay.
It's also
you can have both.
It makes the
like,
game
No, you
without
can't.
striking the delicate balance.
You can't.
Like, I'm not saying cut out the herald. That's not. I've never said
Right.
that. Like, cutting out those communication lines and info running, I like that kind of thing, and I'm the kind of guy who wants to do that stuff. I'm saying I think that will apply. I definitely don't see it. I do not see CIG going down that path. I see CIG using info running for saying mapping data and exploration data and bounty data and that kind of thing. I definitely don't see them putting like the core fundamental basics of a game, which are like money and economy stuff. And economy data will definitely be sent that way.
Here's the problem.
But straight up monetary interactions between players will be nothing but infuriating if it's controlled by
info running. No, here's the thing. It's like there are two
players.
Even in I believe WoW at one point, if I remember correctly, there was a timer that once you send something.
Well, that's what started this conversation.
Yeah, you have
an hour-long timer.
So
yeah, it takes an hour to send an email. Period.
Yeah. So, but
why not both? I don't see why we can't have both.
I think part of the problem we're screwed up here or mistaken here is that first of all, and like you said, WoW was a static number, but in Star Citizen it's not going to be. The time dilation, the time difference is going to be based on distance.
Yeah.
They said that. So while it may take an hour for me to send something to Saurus from Spider to him over in Earth, it may only take a minute for him to do a transfer between him and Dovak if they're sitting next to each other.
Or if they're in the same system, it could be instantaneous.
Yeah,
right.
Or
But if you're going from across
seconds.
the galaxies or whatever, then it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So
So
you want to
But they've said this several times, when they have let's say chat messages, and let's say I want to PM Source or something. Chris Roberts has said stuff like that's going to be more gamified.
Yeah, that's going to be
specifically-
instantaneous.
That
they
will,
know someone will just use
an external thing.
Discord
You can't use an external
It's
thing
that
for
thing.
sending money, or you
It's-
can't use an
And
external.
that's why CIG has that mindset of like, we just can't do this because this could be fucking annoying. And so I don't think they're going to.
Well,
do
it's
stuff
not.
like
it's
that.
not just annoying. It's like
It's a game
like
balance
Forrest said,
issue. It's a game balance issue. To
If
be
if
straight
you were
up.
to limit chat in game,
No one would use
based
it.
on that, nobody would use it. They would
Discord.
just simply use Discord
Most
or
people use
Exactly, because it's fucking. It would make the chat unusable. for
But
communication.
that's not the same reason for like limiting, say, the transfer of goods or services time way.
You don't have another third option for that, or
Right.
third party
Think
option.
about this scenario, right? So you have this item you want to send to somebody, cash on delivery, right? You want to get this item to somebody on the other side of the galaxy or whatever, and you have two options. You can either like give the item to an NPC and it'll take X amount of time, like several hours, World of Warcraft style. Distance will be factored in, or you could give it to Source Corp and then they'll send it. And they have certain risks.
And however long.
And there is
takes.
inherent risk. It's up to you. I don't understand why you can't have both. I don't see why it's
Yeah, and that's what I was saying, is you can have both to do that, but it's going to create a mission either for an AI or for a person.
Yeah,
and
it's
that's all the difference.
and it's still going to take
But
time.
it's like,
It's
I
not
don't.
gonna
Once again, I don't think that will be. They'll go the route of having it be a mission for everything. Like there is going to be that level of simulation. They've said that multiple times, but I don't think they're going to go the route of having every single detail mapped out, because I think it'll just be annoying.
So what you're saying, Dovlek, is that you don't think it'll spawn a mission, but you think it'll just do it automatically within a certain amount of time.
The time, and I'm hoping some stuff is instantaneous, simply due to usability. But yeah, I don't think that infrarunners are going to be hauling like banking records
I'm
might
pretty sure
never
they will.
get to their destination if the player just doesn't complete the mission, because you're laying like a core fundamental game mechanic that the player has to rely on day in and day out. It's like him pressing the button and sometimes nothing happens. Like that can happen in the real world. It can happen if you're simulating everything, but like
you
the
could
idea
say
it's not happening. It would just be fucking
Well,
infuriating.
so what you're saying
could
is that
say-
it's a guaranteed to get there in 2 hours if you
Right,
use the NPCs.
no matter what,
No matter
and insurance covers it if it goes missing.
And,
yeah, and then like you have an infrarunner that could do it faster.
Yeah, in like 15 minutes if they do it, but you take the risk of it getting lost. But and that's also where I think there will be like bank assets. There will be like the armored car heralds that'll be sending thousands of millions of UECs between systems, especially for syndicates and for like illegal, because they won't be able to use the normal channels of communication to send money, especially since it'll be tracked by the advocacy. So they'll need.
I can see that. Yeah,
Yes, we'll
like it would
definitely
be
use-
much more acceptable to have like that form of system like for like out of UE space, but for inside UE space, it's just more like this is the way it's done. This is very locked down, secure.
Yeah, but you
transfers,
still
and then, like,
still have
all the
couriers.
things.
You'll still have couriers who'll be able to do
Oh,
it
yeah,
much faster.
for other
also-
things. Yeah.
You're also going to have lines of credit. So if you need the money now, you pay extra to get it right now. And you're also going to have commodities where some pirates aren't going to want credits. They're going to want gold or space diamonds or something. So you're going to be able to purchase things other than UEC from bank transfers.
What I don't see happening is something like sending a PM. You need to use somebody's Drake to send a PM to somebody in another system.
No.
Like,
No.
They said specifically that's like that's
For the
that's a terrible idea.
communication.
It's the same thing with like
because they
like
know people
Arena,
would just go to TeamSpeak or Discord or whatever.
same with Arena Commander. Like they talked about how Arena Commander, they're just going to kind of like it's a hyperlink space magic where you're going to be able to play people. And
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
that's
video
things.
game.
Yeah.
And initially, they talked about how Arena Commander was going to be location limited in game. They mentioned that you would only be able to play Arena Commander with people in your immediate location in the universe. And then they sat back and realized that's going to be a stupid idea because there are going to be people like me who are explorers who are out there in the middle of nowhere, and I want to play Arena Commander from my sim pod on my Carrack because I got jack shit to do.
Yeah.
I'm just floating out there hoping my Carrack pings something, and I would log into Arena Commander and it'd just be me. So that's why they decided, you know what, we're not even going to try to implement that. We're just going to go ahead and make it Arena Commander is connected to the rest of the world by hyperspace magic. And
Yeah, whatever. And that makes sense. Then maybe having like Arena Commander tournaments in lore or in fiction at certain locations makes sense. But other than that, so they're definitely going to bend the rules a little bit. So that's the first hour. We went a little bit over, and so I'm going to pick up some of the questions here that you guys have. If you guys have questions, exclamation point questions in chat for any of the cast, individually or as a group. And again, we are not CIG, but you can ask us official questions, and we'll give you answers that have no bearing on the actual.
Myers.
Meyer is actually CIG.
Actually,
so.
Myers, Chris Roberts.
Myers, Chris Roberts confirmed.
Whole time.
I don't think I'm even allowed to joke about
It's like Superman. Just get him to take off his glasses, and you'll see.
You'll see.
It's instantaneous. It changes.
These are only lightning questions, so they only can have one-word answers.
We'll try to go as fast as possible, though, to be honest.
A lot of these do look like they're one-word answer questions.
All right, so the first one is from Kachma. I think it's saying that right. Chakma. Show of hands, Squadron 42 released this year. One
Yeah,
person.
I still think it's going to make it.
Chapter 1.
Chapter 1.
So no faith.
No faith.
No. I don't
I'm
think.
going to say early next year.
Yeah, I'm going to say February, probably February or March of next
Yeah,
year.
February.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that the thing is that it's not that it's not going to be done by the end of the year. I have no doubt that the game will be done and finished as a game by August. But then you need to go through and you need to test it and you need to make sure to get all the bugs out and go through and work through
Well,
it.
I've said this several times. At the bare minimum, I think by the end of the year we will have some sort of like tutorial level and like demo level introduction thing.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like the training mission or whatever to teach you how to fly your ship. And I think if they're smart, they're going to release that free to anybody who wants to use it, because those people are going to go out and they're going to use it and they're going to play that level and they're going to come back and go, holy shit, there's a game out there where I could have Mark Hamill teach me how to fly a spaceship. And they're going to buy the freaking game, even if it doesn't come out until February or March or whatever the next year.
Yeah. Now, at the same time, I do know that they're going to be doing a lot of marketing for Squadron 42 this winter, and I believe it was confirmed that they have by CIG that they have a stinger going in front of the next Star Wars movie. They've mentioned that on ATV or
I
RTV.
don't think that was ever officially confirmed.
No, they were talking about it. They talked about it.
That would be very expensive, extremely expensive.
Who was talking about it? Sandy was talking about it. One of the ATVs. I
Well,
was
that
surprised
would
when
be
I
her
heard it.
ballywick. That would be marketing, but that would be an.
I was surprised that she said that. She said it.
Well, now that we're talking about that, yeah, that's been a thing that that has been floating around for a while now.
They know Mark Hamill. They know people. Come on.
So.
Yeah, it's still.
But Elite Dangerous did the same thing. Elite Dangerous put a bunch of advertising before the last Star Wars movie, and it really helped them out.
Really, I didn't see that.
It was.
I saw it several times.
It only ran in.
Yeah, I saw it.
It only ran in European theaters and it only for the first week in American theaters, and then they took it out.
See, I went like the first night here in the state.
It wasn't in the trailer. It wasn't in the trailers. It was in the previews before the trailer started.
Maybe the theater group I went to didn't have that particular group of preview. Yeah.
So
yeah. It played and I was like, "Boom! Star Citizen better!" And I'm throwing like CIG business cards.
Because Meyer is, Chris Roberts. That's the fact.
Yeah, that confirms it.
Glasses is a brilliant mind. Chris Roberts, yeah.
Next question is from Magic. What shampoo does everyone use?
Fuck you.
The blood of virgins. That's the only shampoo that works for me.
That's my answer to Magic. Fuck you, Magic.
You don't use shampoo for your beard?
I'm lazy, so I just use this all like 3-in-1 thing and just put it on my body and then just roll around on the floor. And then shower, just rinse myself off, and that's how I take a shower.
All right.
I use Alpecin, German engineering for your hair. It's like
caffeinated shampoo.
Yeah, it's caffeine shampoo. You get it in your eye, and
Yeah.
you're like, ah.
My eyes are really wide, but I really want to close them right now.
Oh, next question is from Wikipedia. Think we'll see Procedural Planet in 2.5 or 2.6?
I think we already all answered that as probably.
We'll see.
Yeah, I think it's a lot closer than we think it was maybe a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I would if we're only choosing between 2.5 and 2.6, my guess would be 2.6, but I don't think it's coming 2.6.
Yeah,
It'll be about 2 weeks.
I think it's soon, but not 2.5. maybe not 2.6.
What do they say? Sooner than you, not as soon as you like, but sooner than you think.
That's right.
Yeah.
We need to get a whole other landing zone, just a landing zone, before we get a whole planet. I mean, it's baby steps, one thing at a time. It's coming soon, but we're not there yet.
Coming soon to an internet near you.
Next one is from Brasidas421. Dragonfly, quantum drive, yes or no?
No.
No.
I believe they've said they've confirmed no.
No. Yeah.
It's
Like,
gonna be just like the Merlin, isn't it? So
That's 100%. It's actually worse than the Merlin.
Yeah.
You can't go from atmosphere to space, and you can't go from space to atmosphere.
Yeah.
And you can't quantum with it.
I
Whereas
think
the Merlin can go to atmosphere. No.
the Merlin can't quantum either.
No. Yeah, but the Merlin can actually go from space to
It
atmosphere.
can go through the atmospheric layer.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, did they not
the
mention
Dragonfly
you can get
will have some special things that it does in atmosphere, and I think that's where you're going to be using it the most.
No, it would be kind of like a mount, maybe in like landing zones. Who knows? I don't know.
It's a
I
space
still-
vehicle that's not a full-fledged spaceship. People got to keep that in mind.
I still want to ride a space motorcycle into atmosphere at terminal velocity and watch it heat up.
Yes.
The ultimate way to die. Go out like Ghost Rider, just burst
Yes.
into flames.
It's pretty much a great cat buggy in the sky, then, in that case.
Essentially, yeah, but armored with weapons.
Yeah.
So now the price is going to be $35, and it is going on concept sale this Friday.
Yes and no. So it's $35 for one. We don't know the price. They're going to be cheaper if you buy them in bundles of two.
You can buy them in bundles of two.
Yes.
So it'll be like
Yes.
$60 or $60.
It'll probably be like 40 or 50 bucks for two, and $35 for one.
So I
But
wonder
we
if
don't know
we
the
can
price
buy
for
them.
two yet. They
I
haven't.
just like you can buy them in bundles of two. I'm just trying to picture that.
Well, this
that
is why.
Same kind of a pitch for any other vehicle in the real world. Like you can buy yourself a Hummer H3 for $50,000, or get two of them for
For only
Well, this is going to be
$60,000.
why the Caterpillar is going to be able to hold them,
yeah.
and I think that you're going to get two per module.
Well, yeah, and it makes
Yeah.
sense. They're utility vehicles.
Yeah.
They're basically a big ass jetpack, so it makes sense buying them in bundles.
Well, and
Just the concept that sounds funny.
And the Caterpillar is essentially the Drake's answer to the Constellation. It's the
Yeah.
Drake
pirate
says,
Constellation.
well, to a Corvette,
Yeah,
a lot bigger than a Constellation.
but I mean, it's
Yeah.
the same concept of as a Constellation. It's a civilian transport ship that's modular, can do different things, and that's kind of what the Connie was.
I like how CAG, like the bundle is just kind of CAG's way of saying like, yeah, you're gonna kind of go through a few of these things. Like, nah, we're not going to stay around very long. I don't know.
They're gonna come
You
in
should probably have a
outside
backup.
something
Yeah. Hey
I
man,
think
well,
people
my,
are going to want multiple ones for a ship. Not that you're necessarily going to go through them. If you got LTI, you're going to get it replaced.
I think people should fear the Idris with like the 50 or 60 space motorcycles on it, so you can have your roving space
Yeah.
motorcycle.
The Hornets
gang.
just swarm. I shouldn't say the
the
word Hornets.
swarms are going to be insane.
This
Those
fly-
bees just come out.
Yes, and you know they'll be easy to pick off one at a time, but when there's like 50 of them attacking five
Yeah,
ships,
you
you're
take out 3 or
screwed.
4 of them, great. But what are you going to do with the other 45?
Yeah,
And especially when they all alpha strike.
yeah, when they all fire at one person and focus target. I mean, like I've experienced that with like MechWarrior Online with playing lights. With a light swarm is dangerous because you have to focus on one, and if there's like 3 or 4 attacking a larger target, that larger target's done within a couple of seconds. Like it
That's
just
where the
can't do it.
Pyroblast shotgun comes into play, I guess. You know,
Yeah. Just shoot and then hope it hits like four of them at once. So next question is, I have never been good at ship combat, but I'm a beast at FPS. Will I be able to make a living for myself as a villain without great ship skills?
Yes. We need boarding people, so
Dominic, think you need to talk, message Soros personally, and maybe he got you a job for you. I don't know.
yeah, we're always looking for more guys that are good at FPS for boarding and doing a lot of the ground FPS as well.
He said he wants to be a villain, so I guess, I mean, if he does end up being like his own dude or like a captain, I mean, the captain's seat is literally you don't fly, you have all your information. So yeah, why not?
Next question is from Mr. Underground. Do you believe armor can later be made illegal in NPC or player controlled areas as a way to prevent piracy or attempted illegal activities, such as planning?
Fun
attacks
fact:
on
the
other
outlaw heavy
actions?
armor is illegal. It's made of military ship armor that's been salvaged,
Yeah.
and it's technically illegal. It's just there right now because that's what we have for the other side. But
And there will be
Yeah.
will be landing zones where you can't wear armor because it's just like in reality. If you walk out in full military body armor in the streets of Chicago, you're going to get arrested.
Well, hey, speak for yourself. That's like Tuesday.
Yeah, but you're in the South. You know, that's a little different. But you know, like where you live is the equivalent of Knicks in the Star Citizen universe. It's
Yeah,
whatever
it's
the fuck
pretty-
you want
it's pretty
to walk
fucked
out
up.
there. You know.
Whew, it's a nightmare.
I live in an open carry state, and it's
Yeah,
It-
but
I live in Tennessee. We got 3 things in Tennessee. We have really good internet. Like, I have the best internet in the country.
okay,
bar
okay,
none.
no,
Actually,
the
It's-
city
as long
has.
we
as
have whiskey,
I
and
lived.
then we got racism. That's what we got
You
going.
got
for
the,
us.
you forgot the
Combination.
fourth. You forgot the fourth one, which is lots of guns.
Not so much. That's more Georgia. Like
Yeah.
Georgia has more guns there.
I was actually surprised when I lived in Tennessee how I expected a much bigger gun culture than there was. Tennessee is actually, it's funny he says racism, but you hit the metropolitan areas and it's one of the most liberal.
Yeah, it's not.
South you will.
Like we're surrounded by like
outside of
Alabama and Georgia and
Yeah.
Kentucky and South Carolina. Like Tennessee's pretty fine actually.
Yeah, comparatively. Yes.
Comparatively, it's solely not.
And I lived maybe an hour north of Dovelac, so I know I know what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah. I lived in Clarksville and went to Nashville. Blew me away. I loved Nashville.
Yeah, Nashville's a great town.
One of the best cities I've ever been to in my life. It's one of the only cities I would ever move to if I wanted to live in a metropolitan area.
All right, so the next question is
all hail the great Canada.
Canada. The 3 cities that you can live in Canada.
Got to build that northern wall next.
Oh, if
you guys
you've
out.
never been up where Soros lives,
It's
you are
beautiful.
missing out. It
Oh,
is
it's
one of
beautiful.
the most beautiful places in the world.
Um,
Victoria and
filthy.
Vancouver, BC are both
And the prices reflect that.
Yes.
yeah.
Filthy northeast coming down south and messing everything up.
Caldillo asks, "Are you guys excited for VoIP? I hate typing." Yes.
I don't care about it. I'm going to use Discord most of the time, anyways.
No, I mean VoIP in terms of like I'm gonna run as someone random. You know, I'm gonna be in the
Yeah.
back, and be like, kill, 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 kill. Kill,
Wouldn't
kill,
it be
kill,
really
kill,
cool
kill,
to
kill,
do?
kill. And just mess with people.
I'm
and,
just
like,
going to be running tiptoe through the tulips on
on repeat.
through my mixer
Yeah.
as I'm just gunning people down.
But I think that's an important thing is that VoIP actually adds a level of player interaction that or what is it? What do they like to call this these days?
It'll be nice for comms to hail each other and stuff. That'll be cool.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Emergent gameplay. Yeah, it'll add
Yeah.
emergent gameplay aspects to it, which will be
Definitely, because like when you have the text, it's nice and all, but it'd be really cool. Like you could target a ship, then press hail, and then it'll like ring on their phone, and then you get to choose whether to pick it up or to hang up.
Or you
And
can
then
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
call for help and somebody can talk to you, see if they want to come help you or not. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we can do with it that'll be fun and useful in game.
Yeah, but like
Oh,
imagine,
God.
like
Using
Soros,
voice changers that sound like a girl. Make sure everybody helps me.
All right, the next question is from Giesel1. I'm a bit out of the loop here. Are there any plans to upgrade the org features on the website / in the game? Example, org forums, maybe even shared hangars or inviting people to hangars.
This
What do you
sounds like a
guys think?
perfect question for our representative from INN to answer.
How much priority does this feature set have at CIG? I believe they talked
Okay.
about this really recently, didn't they?
Firstly, yes. Secondly, that's not a word.
Are you
Secondly,
Secondly,
making things
not that much priority at all. Apparently, Org 2.0 has been in the works for like over a year at this point. It's been coming in 2 weeks for like the past year or so.
Org 2.0 is website 2.0.
Yeah,
it could come
It's
tomorrow.
not just the org.
It could come
it's
in 6
everything.
months. Who knows?
Yeah,
it's being worked on.
they said it in an RTV a couple of weeks ago that they're working on that. Turbulent has been working on it for a while now, but it's in the it's being worked on.
Behavior ran off with the money and made a horror game. We
It's-
all know.
It's
yeah.
it's part of a much larger revamp of the entire website, though. So it's Org 2.0 is not, as the source says, it's not Org 2.0 anymore. It's website 2.0. So
now
once
it'll
inviting
come with a
people
whole
to
bunch
your
of other-
hangars, inviting people to your hangars is part of persistence. That was part of the issue with that. So hopefully much sooner than possibly than Org 2.0 is. Now that we have persistence running and we're testing.
Mm-hmm. That's more of like a couple of weeks.
Because the last time Chris was kind of addressed about it, he kind of shrugged off the idea. He was like, he wasn't very like.
I don't think he really cares about that stuff.
It's
so
not.
much.
It's not really a priority at the moment, especially over game features.
Org's having like a group fund of real money to buy large ships with. That's a big legal issue. That's kind of a nightmare to even want to.
Yeah, CIG doesn't want to have that done on their end, on their website.
Because you're going to have 100 people donating and one person's in charge, and then they're going to buy a ship, quit the org, and keep it. It's
Yeah.
That's if you're going to do something like that, you need to do that on your own outside of CIG, and that's your risk there.
Now as far as org hangars, I know that they're planning on doing kind of an org hangar as kind of like an org headquarters, but that won't be probably won't happen until we have purchasable ships, and for a while, like after org 2.0.
Yeah, that'll be a while out still.
But that's going to be like loaning your ship out. You still own it, but you put it out there for other people to borrow.
Or
stuff.
it's just like you're hanging out at the org headquarters and you parked your ship in the hangar. You know, that's kind of what it'll be, I guess.
Well, we know that they're going to give you permissions, right? Like who has permissions to do what on what ship.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could open their permissions to the entire org. You can open them. Maybe they'll be able to do it via rank or something like that. Who knows? But yeah, like one person will still own that ship. It'll just be open to the people from the organization that way.
Yeah, I'd love to see permissions though. As much as I love sneaking into ships and then shooting the pilot, I mean, I'd love to actually have.
Well, as long as hacking comes in with permissions, I think that's part of the idea behind that.
Well, and they've showed that with some of the previews, some of the because it looks like
How
permissions.
about
hacking.
when they were blowing out the windows and stuff like
Oh,
that?
man,
All of
that
that.
is-
other
hack
stuff.
the
That
doors
was
and
so
the
cool.
doors. We're doing that.
I mean,
And
I
the worst-
love that moment where like you're like the airlock is locked and they lock it down. The guy like goes over to the window and it's just like, ha ha, you can't get in. Dude just pulls out like a rail gun and just shoots the window out and walks in.
Everything
Like-
gets sucked out.
Yeah.
Into space.
The best part about that is they made no comment about it before in the video or after when they released the video. You had no idea it was coming. It was like, this is what we're doing with the new control, the
piping
new
system,
power
that's what it
system
was.
and the piping system. And then at the end, and it's like, oh, and by the way, we have explosive decompression now, but we're not going to tell you a damn thing about it. We're
Yeah.
just gonna show it, and we'll never talk about it again. And if you ask us on Reverse the Verse, we'll ignore you.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Jeez.
you bastards.
Next question is from Aziz or Ajiz AJZ. Question: do you think we will get a crafting advanced like SWG Jump to Light Speed / Freelancer? We don't have crafting. We have we have twerking. So twerk is going to be available on tweaking is what they call it, right?
Tweaking.
Yeah.
Overclocking.
Overclocking is what they call it. Yeah, we won't have crafting in the sense that other games have. You might be able to own like factories that produce things, but you don't directly affect that per se.
That's all affected by the raw materials going in, and then that's it. It's off. It's out of your hands. What we will have though is being able to mess around with numbers on like whatever, right? Like so, being able to affect heat output or rate of fire or the amount of damage per round and things like that.
Mm-hmm. So like people who really work on it and have the right systems to set up for it are going to be like really sought after because they'll be able to make them really good weapons, but they'll probably be expensive to run those machines and or to buy them individually.
I could see them adding crafting down the road after launch sometime because it would add longevity to the game overall.
Possibly. They've also talked about like colonization after launch.
Yeah.
That's just Chris
Yeah, but
Roberts.
that's like
we
years
also
after
weren't going to
release.
have fully explorable planets either, but
Yeah.
when they found out how easy they didn't think it was,
Right.
now that they've done it, they're like, okay, well now we're going to do it.
Yeah, well, they didn't know. I love that story because like they didn't know that the guys who are in the Frankfurt office had been trying to make procedural generation in CryEngine before they left CryEngine. So it was essentially just them just going, we kind of already know how to do this.
Was that story about a certain someone getting mad at like CIG for just using the procedural generation tutorials for CryEngine, and it turned out like the guy
Who built the tutorial?
was the CIG developer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that was the thing. That's how procedural came about. Is They hired a bunch of new people from Crytek at Frankfurt office. They've been doing that for a year or so, building up that office. And basically, somebody came up to them and said, "Yeah, we can do procedural planetary generation. We've done it at the back at the old Crytek office. They just wouldn't let us do anything with it. So here it is." And
in terms of the overclocking thing, I mean, like, I think it'd be really cool to have your personal Garrus Vicarian doing calibrations and all
Oh man, only if he's as hot.
well,
as
and
Garrus.
that's what I
So hot.
I am cautiously optimistic about that. The idea that it will be a skill based thing and not just a level based system where you have to develop the motor skills to be better at overclocking. We don't know what that means yet.
Well, it could be the same as, if you play any like racing sims or anything like that, where you have to mess around with the gearing and do all that and figure that all out. It may be something very similar to that, and that's sort of how I picture them doing that.
Yeah, I imagine it's a combination of buying stuff and like actually like having like messing around with gearing,
Like
or
messing
even,
with the numbers. And,
or even like maybe
However-
doing something
however
out,
they
like, ripping
implement
things
that
out.
with
Yeah,
the-
there could be some
change
math
things.
involved. So if you're better at math, you're going to be better at it, and all sorts
Right.
of things. But I hopefully,
The internet will min-max that instantly.
Oh, they
Just
will.
instantaneously.
and that's the thing that's what I'm afraid is they talk about how it's going to be skill based, and every time I think about it, that's Dovak. That's what I come up with too. Is it won't be long at all before there'll be websites up that just say, "Oh, this is what you do to max your."
Which is the reason why.
which is going to happen, though.
Yeah, but which is the reason why I think that'll probably be cost associated, where you have to buy the right equipment in order to do it, and then you need to buy the materials, and you need to be the right materials, and it has to be the good quality materials, and the quality materials will shift from place to place. You won't be able to go to stay Stanton and get the same quality materials as you'll get in, say, Terra, and you have to go to Terra to get those quality materials, and after those quality materials are out in Terra, they're gone, and you have to go somewhere else. So it'll probably have more to do with the economy and with other in-system aspects than just figuring out how everything works.
There could just be a random roll too, like a bonus could be a +1 or a +5 just by luck of the draw.
RNG, I think RNG would be kind of frowned upon by people because
they could do it so that
But there could be a certain amount of RNG, right? Like maybe
Otherwise,
two of the
it's a short
same.
thing. That's no fun.
But this is the thing: is you could get two of the same weapon, and maybe the RNG on those weapons won't allow it to be overclocked as much. So I think that it would be smart for them to still introduce that RNG, and then you can go and pay extra from an overclocker to get that super awesome weapon, but it's going to cost a shit ton because you had to buy like 50 of them to get that really, really awesome one, and then also overclock it and do all that stuff.
Right.
yeah. So something more like every 10 times you do it, you get a basic one, but the 10th time you get like this super awesome legendary.
Right, but maybe
badger.
every 50 times you get all stats that are good. Like it doesn't overheat very much. Its rate of fire is crazy high, and it outputs a shit ton of damage.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess
Thing
that
is,
could work.
how would you like ascertain like an overclocker's skill? Because like you could let's say I'm looking for an overclocker for my constellation. So I was like, yeah, I'm a pro overclocker. And then you
It could
put him
be.
inside, and he fries everything.
Well,
What
like I said, it could be like that gearing system, right? So test it, see, and have some sort of target that you shoot to see what its rate of fire is, what its damage is, and be able to sort of tweak those gears. But if you do it too much, it just breaks.
I
Yeah.
think the
You
answer
go over too much.
the answer to a lot of this is also just like mini games. Like the repair stuff is a mini game where you actually have to slice off this portion and then like find the right materials and put it in the right processing center and then repair or like replace it or take the right things and like actually put it back onto the ship and repair it. You can do it automatically or you can do it manually or
With the,
same thing
with
mining.
the
you have to scan and
overclocking, it
stuff.
would be
I think
nice
it'll
to
simple.
have your the amount of time that you've put into it, the number of times you've done it, you slowly get better and better skills, so you have better results.
I don't think they're ever going to go down the route of skills though.
No,
that's the
they've
problem.
said
Yeah.
they've said stuff like that. Kind of like the direction I'm pretty much I suspect it's going to go in is it's pretty much just going to be like this is your ship's build, and just like you can overclock it in like a few different directions, almost like power allocation now, where it's like you can kind of like overclock in this direction, where it's like higher rate of fire, higher energy consumption, higher heat, or like low heat, low rate. Like there's like different ways you can go, and obviously like there's to be different builds, for lack of a better word, will be better with different like loadouts and different types of weapons and different types of shields and different types of components. So you, like what kind of overclock you go for on a ship in particular will have to kind of depend on like what that ship is, what kind of components you have. Like this, can the power core like even handle this form of overclock? Can your cooling handle it? Can like all these, you have to go with all these elements together, and then basically from there out, it's like what direction do you want to take the ship in from there, and you can almost like more specify it. I don't. You might be able to eke out like a little bit more performance, sure, but I think it might be even more. It's just like a purely simple, just like you can just get these benefits for these trade-offs or these trade-offs for these benefits.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's definitely going to be the case in the trade-offs thing, but I have a feeling that it'll be things like there's a certain chipset that AMD makes for racing ships that if you replace the afterburners in your M50 with that chipset, then it will increase the thrust. It'll increase your speed by like 20%, but it'll also increase your heat by 20%, and as a result, your ship will overheat much faster, and it'll cause problems if you're trying to do like. If you get too close, or it might like overload your shields or something like that. There'll be some trade-offs for it, but it'll have to be doing with materials definitely, and then probably a mini game in which you have to install it in the right way in the right places and such. So
I could see watching heat being a big thing. Like, after you've done all the overclocking, you need to watch the gauge to like turn it on and turn it off or something. I mean, there are so many ways they could go ahead and do the actual overclocking thing. I mean, it could be as simple as like, in Gears of War when you're reloading and you have to like press the button to like hot reload, like stop the bar. It could be as simple as that.
Yeah.
For instance, like each weapon had its own thing, and you could like go online and find out what you need to do. It could be like it gives you a set of variables, and then you have to like do things different each time, which would be cool. But at the same time, you would need somebody who is pretty sharp up there, and I don't think is going to balance out that well.
Well, they want it to be something that once you do it, you understand how it's done, and you get better at it over time.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, or if you're just really good at it right away, you just are really good at it right away.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's going to be more along this. Like, this is what I think. And somebody in chat said, "Oh, RNG is the devil." But if you have RNG to a small amount, okay, let's say we have a laser gun, right? And it's RNG damage. Let's break it down to numbers. I know that's not kind of how it works, but let's say it does 20 to 30 damage. So in RNG, you can get one of those that'll do 20 to 30 damage, and you can put another 5 damage onto that, and you could do 5 to 8 rounds a second, and it can overheat. Or for it to cool down, it needs this amount or this amount. And then within that, you can be using that model that I was talking about, where you have a UI on a computer that it's hooked up to, or whatever, that sees what it is, and you can sort of tweak that. But if you go over it, you can break it. Like, there needs to be fail states as well as
success states,
like good states, right? So the more you push it, the better. And being able to read how much heat it's able to, like, not everybody's going to know. Or even if you do know this, even if they put it on the website, this gun can only handle this so much heat, right? If they have that little bit of RNG, then those people that are good will be able to recognize, how to get that little bit more out of it.
Yeah.
And all games have RNG. Like, games you wouldn't suspect, like CS:GO and Counter-Strike and StarCraft 2 have RNG. Like, all games have RNG to a respect. It's just how they use it. And it's like how big that gap is that it can like make you win the game. Is it like Hearthstone, where you can just get fucked and just lose a game and your skills don't matter at all? Or is it like Counter-Strike Go, where it's just there to give like a little bit to make every gun not a laser gun?
Yeah. No, and Saurus is right in the sense that you need to have a fail state, because otherwise that profession will be super.
Everybody would do it. Why would you hire out for that?
Yeah. So if you have a fail states where people can recognize when it's about to fail versus people who don't know, and people with
they destroy the weapon or they destroy the component.
Yeah.
Yeah. My biggest concern for that reason is trying to like find out like.
Who's good at it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's certain.
Well, that's the thing, is that word would start to spread, right? Like, people would
That's
advertise
part of the reputation system,
and things like that. People would start to advertise that I'm good at this. And you know what? Going as maybe test squadron, coming to Overdrive, being like, oh, we heard you have the best one. Yeah, maybe he's really good, but you also have to think, well, are we on good terms as organizations? Stuff like that. Are they going to try and fuck me over or whatever? And that's what makes the game the game. Right, and that's what's going to be good about it. So
yeah, and that's the way it's going to work. Is let's say I hire Meyer to overclock my the thrusters on my Mustang or something, and he does a good job with it. And for a good price. So then I leave a review, just like a Yelp review on his reputation system, that say Meyer did a good job here. So the next person now, WTF comes along, and he's looking at prospective people to hire, and he notices that Meyer's got some good reviews. He also notices that the reviews come from somebody like me who he trusts that I'm being honest in my review, things like that, and you start these reputations to build up.
And then I sabotage his ship.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. You're able to do that, right? So maybe you are in a hidden affiliation with some org that I just keep fucking taking out their ships, and you're like, I'm not going to help this guy out. So you give me like lower power stuff, and I'm going around like I'm a fucking hot shot. I got these sweet weapons, but for all intents and purposes, mine are weaker than what you gave to the guys that are defending.
Absolutely. That's all part of the risk and reward that comes along with doing that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm looking forward to it a lot. I don't plan on being an overclocker myself, but I'm definitely looking forward to finding the good ones and hiring them out. And maybe even like you said, maybe I'll hire a good overclocker to screw up WTF stuff. Be like, pay him money for it.
Yeah. I mean, that would totally be a possibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so the next question is from Comrade Headcloud. Who here is excited for Squadron 42? I think everyone is
Who cares
excited
about
for
that?
Squadron 42. I don't think there's a single person in Star Citizen that it actively plays the game is not excited for Squadron 42. Even people I've talked to who aren't single-player game fans are excited for Squadron 42. So
yeah, I have a friend that is not really interested about Star Citizen, but he's like, Squadron 42, I could play that,
It's just another wing commander. Like, who doesn't?
But we haven't had a wing commander.
I back
Who doesn't
Squadron
want it?
42 is the way I view it. I mean, that's what sold me was the pitch for Squadron 42. That at the time, the pitch for the online was not nearly as impressive.
Well, the original pitch was Squadron 42.
Yeah, the original pitch. People forget that the original
Star
game,
Citizen was Squadron 42 until
Right, and
Star Citizen was a stretch goal. Star Citizen was a stretch
basically,
goal.
yeah. Star Citizen was just if we get enough people, get enough money, we're gonna have a co-op multiplayer experience. And it was some of this one just kept getting bigger.
It
and
was
bigger.
Freelancer 2. Yeah, essentially they're like, all right, so we'll make Wing Commander 5 and call it Squadron 42, and if we get enough money, we'll make Freelancer 2.
Yeah,
that's
basically
what they're saying.
For me, and I think for a lot of us, especially from that age group, and wow, Dovak's all sparkly. It's pretty.
I know it's.
Dovlak is a vampire, confirmed.
He's an angel.
Scotty's beaming him up.
Yeah, but for me, it was that the moment that that pitch videos kicked on. Somebody sent it to me. He's like, "Don't you play this Chris Roberts guy's games?" And I opened up the video, and it's people. They said I was dead. Or the reports of my demise were greatly exaggerated. I'm a PC game or something like that. I was like, and then there's Chris Roberts sitting there. I was like, "Are you kidding me? I don't care what he's making. Throw it, catch it, take my money."
Oh God.
And
it's not true though. The original pitch was for Star Citizen, not for Squadron 42. Hayes, you're wrong. The original pitch in Kickstarter was Squadron 42.
Yeah, I distinctly remember that
if you
too.
look, you can actually go to the Kickstarter
There
page.
was
It
a
still
multiplayer
exists.
component to it pitched with it, but
that was the multiplayer that got scrapped with Squadron 42.
It was a co-op experience with Squadron 42.
Yeah, it was the 4-player.
And then they said that they would introduce Squadron 42 if they made $1 million.
And then people kept demanding stretch goals.
Or Star Citizen, you mean? Yeah.
They'll make Star Citizen, yeah, if they made $1 million.
yeah, it's like we're also gonna do an MMO if we get a lot of money.
Yeah, so it was in the plannings. We're not saying that it wasn't planned. It was definitely planned, but it was one of those planned as in we really want to make Squadron 42, but we also like to make Star Citizen. And Star Citizen stole the limelight from Squadron 42 as the stretch goals went forward and people started backing for Star Citizen, not necessarily for Squadron 42. So.
Yeah, it was the original pitch was all about Squadron 42, and basically and hopefully we'll have some multiplayer too. That's how that went. And then
rewards for beating Squadron 42. They've answered this a couple times, but essentially citizenship, minor benefits in the PU and reputation.
Yeah, it's the same kind of. It's based on Rome. It's okay. So if you don't know much about Roman history, it's based on just like Starship Troopers, same concept. Service guarantees citizenship. Citizenship guarantees you rights. The right to vote. The right to open businesses for yourself, for cheaper prices,
and
licensing, things like that.
Socially, like police officers may look the other way if you're a citizen and you've done
things like that. Yeah,
infraction. If you vouch for someone who's like, oh, this like if Soros is caught like red-handed sneaking into like a bank or something like that, and I'm a citizen, I might be able to go up and be like, "Yo, Source is a friend. He's cool." It's like, "Oh, all right. Well, we'll get him out on bail or something like that."
No, it also has to be said though. Even though Star Citizen or Squadron 42 is a way to get citizenship, it will not be the only way.
Yes,
to
Right.
get citizenship.
Right.
So, but it's
So if you're really against single player games or you just really want the MMO thing, then you can still just.
It's unfortunate that they aren't going to be doing co-op. I understand why, though. The way they've made the story, it would be impossible to do co-op with that. I can see that.
I mean, they've talked about doing it later, like adding it in like multiplayer missions, just kind of like how, gosh, what was it? How Halo and Call of Duty have
Right.
done this, where they have that kind of co-op experience,
But
which is separate.
I doubt we're going to see the entire Squadron
No.
42 campaign as a co-op thing. And that
They've said they won't do that now.
Yeah, that was a nice idea at the first, because like one of my buddies, the guy who plays with me at the same time, we both played for the game. He is horrible at flying. That's just not his thing. He's a first-person shooter guy, and so our initial plan was I was basically going to carry him on the flight parts of the game, and he was going to carry me on the first-person shooter parts of the game as co-op. That's how we were going to do it. That way we could both get our citizenship by working together. And unfortunately, that's not going to be the problem now, or not going to be the solution now. He's going to have to, if he wants to be a citizen and wants to do it the Squadron 42 way, he's going to have to fly it and beat it himself.
With the next question is also from Headclot. With the 30-plus gigabyte patch sizes, do you think Delta patching will be coming out soon?
No.
Nope.
No.
They've said it before. It's a matter of how they built the game.
Yep.
We'll see eventually, maybe. Who
But-
knows?
Not anytime soon. Another question from Comrade Hendricklot. Do you expect any form of mixed reality headset integration for Star Citizen, such as HoloLens?
No.
No, like-
100%.
If you guys don't actually understand what HoloLens is, HoloLens isn't really that. We're probably gonna get VR support eventually, but like
Even
already
then, it's
in.
not going to be very good, and it'll
That's-
probably only for what is it called? For Arena Commander.
yeah,
Well, no, I mean, they have-
like that's not
issues.
that's not what we're gonna,
HoloLens is a small. Sorry about the mic.
it's like
a
it's like
small
this
screen out in front of you. Yeah, my roommate works. He works for Microsoft and works with HoloLens, and like, he's tried that and he's tried my Vive, and they're two completely different things.
Yeah,
like
like
night and day.
HoloLens is Google Glass 2.0. It's that kind of thing. It's
HoloLens has the computer built into the headset, and that computer, even though it's good for
streaming
stuff,
and
it's
watching
not good
video.
for- you wouldn't be able to run Star Citizen on it.
There are a few games coming out for that thing, but they're all very built around the experience. They're not they're not your traditional games. It's a completely different thing.
Next question with no name. Will it be possible to create your own missions for people or NPCs to solve, like bounties, etc.?
Yes.
And if
Yes.
that kind of variety could you expect?
Supposedly.
Essentially, because of how the mission systems work already, I believe the idea is that any kind of mission that NPCs can give you, you can give a player. So, elimination of another player, elimination of an NPCs, elimination or transport missions, security missions, racing missions. I'm sure, like hiring someone to be a racer for you, and doing, because it's I'm assuming that they're going to do some sort of contract system, because that's kind of what the mission system is a contract system.
No, I have a question on that. How far out do you think that would be? For example, a bounty system where you'd be able to type in somebody's name and be like, you put this out and it goes out to all the servers, right? And if you see this person, this is how much that you get paid, and you pay that to the bank or whatever, and it just holds that in escrow until somebody completes it.
Yeah, or like when you scan someone, you're like, oh shit. Like if you have a list of bounties and it trips out, you're like, oh shit, this guy has like a bounty on his head. Do I want to go for this?
But that's another example. I think
It
that's
doesn't
another-
seem that insane to implement, really. If you think
I think once it's in for NPCs, it'll be only like a patch or so. Once it's in for once we get like proper missions, not like the placeholder missions we have.
not
now.
these ones that we have, yeah.
Yeah, but once we get proper missions, then it'll be like a patch away from getting player missions. But it depends on if there's like bugs and such like that, because it's probably it's probably a little bit more complicated to do player initiated ones than having the universe server pull it up.
Yeah, but I mean, if you just implemented the first step, right? Because we all know things come in baby steps or whatever. If your first step of missions where you can only create bounties for other people, And
that
it's
shouldn't
like,
be that difficult.
you click on that, you put in the amount it's for, you put in a player's name, and it just goes out to everybody.
Yeah, and I think that's another place where like a herald would be very useful, because a herald will take that bounty from a system, either a player or NPC based, and then travel with that bounty to all the rest. Like you could say, hey, send this to Terra, and then like have them at Terra, like the post office of Terra, send it to anywhere they can get to or whatever. So having
And I can
players
also
do
see like the metagame of like, yeah, it's cool to be a level 5 pirate now, but to have like a 2 million UEC bounty on your head is going to be
No, I mean some people
Like, that's
some people
gonna be,
will
like,
live
that's
fast,
social
live
status
fast,
for
die
pirates and
young
stuff.
sort of thing. You know, some people will love that kind of stuff, but other people will be like, man, now I can't even go anywhere because this is bounty.
also all content creators beware.
Oh no,
'Cause
every one of us has a bounty on our heads already. I mean, that's
Oh, yeah.
that's just the matter of
We have the
fact.
bounty on their heads without minus the bounty. Like they don't even need the bounty part. Bounty part is not necessary.
Yeah, no, they'll do it. They'll do it for fun.
You don't need a reward.
The next problem, next question, next problem. Next question is from a person. Will all Vandal ships be sold at one point or another? No.
All of them.
No.
Just like
No,
not
no,
all
no.
UEE ships are being sold.
Yeah, no matter what, I can guarantee you there's 2 ships that will never be sold: the Retribution and a King ship, because those aren't flyable ships; they're set pieces.
You'll
So, right there,
You'll get them at some point in the game. You'll be able to acquire them unless the Retribution is a one-off ship.
That's probably gonna,
which I think it probably will be.
It'll probably blow up in Squadron 42. I think almost everyone's like, yeah.
But
that's
the
probably
King
how it
ship,
works.
eventually will be able to. It will be possible. I don't know how easy.
No,
I don't think they'll ever make the King ship fly. Well, not anytime soon.
No, definitely not on launch.
No.
It'll be quite a while.
Because with how much it takes to just get like an Idris flyable, imagine a King ship. I mean, it's just.
I mean, the King ship is the
I
size
so
of a-
hope so because I need my goddamn reconditioned sword. That is the coolest shit ever.
I don't think a human can wield that thing.
I need it.
don't think a human can wield that thing. That thing looks a bit ungainly.
I need it.
I think the
Speaking of which, though, remember? Did you guys all watch the behind the scenes with Andy Serkis? God, the way that guy can just turn into a beast, like
meow.
it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Just blows me away. All of a sudden, he's a freaking 8-foot tall alien, even though he's still just the Andy Serkis. Like he just his whole mannerisms change. I love it.
He's a one-man circus. That
He
Andy
is.
Serkis.
That Andy Serkis, yeah.
But the kingship, I don't think that people will be able to, unless like you have a friend to help you hold the kingship. I think it's the key or the key sword or key.
It's like a ceremonial sword thing that the chief owns or whatever.
If there was a Vandal lore, you know how all Vandal apparently have like daggers? Is that how they fly their ships? Do they all have their own sticks? I mean, like it's
Like their own dagger is like their key.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. Because
Apparently, like I think what was said, I might be completely making this up now, but I think what was said is like the sword's made of some metal, and they plunge that into like the reactor core of the ship to like start the ship, which is cool as hell, by the way.
Confirmed. Brian Chambers said that the sword is made out of a special metal that is
Oh no!
the reactor core. Hey,
Oh no!
You have to go find Merlin. He'll make the sword stick for you.
Yeah.
I think that's what they said. I might be completely crazy. I am completely crazy. So you know.
There's so
Pulling
much of
down.
that lore, and who knows how much of that lore will survive to when the game actually goes live. Writers know retconning is a very important aspect of being a writer.
Mhm.
Sometimes you write something down and you go back to it a year later and you're like, there's no freaking way this works. I've got to go back and change it, or just pretend I never wrote that.
Yeah, and one of the big things I think that people don't really realize when they talk about like kingships is that unlike Bengals, kingships are like floating planets. Like their
Right.
entire clans live inside a
Well,
kingship.
they're dreadnoughts essentially.
Yeah,
So
they're essentially dreadnoughts, but like they're designed, as far as I remember from the lore, is that the concept is every Vandal man, woman, and child in a clan lives in that clan's kingship until they come of age, and then they get either assigned to another ship or they inherit another ship or do something like that. So
Right.
at the end of the day, the Vandal kingships, like if you encounter a Vandal kingship, it'll be like trying to fight a planet. Not really. You're not fighting a ship. You're going up against like Terra. You're like trying to destroy Terra, trying to take over Terra. It's not going to be very easy, if impossible at all, sort of thing. So it'll be you survive a kingship. You don't in the PU. You don't capture one. But yeah, next question. Do you think this is from Technowolf? Do you think the Mobi-Glass itself will be able to hold a certain amount of UEC, like GTA 5, where you can have cash on you and money in the bank that you can be stolen when somebody kills you? I think it'll have infinite.
That's something that I've been thinking about. There's got to be other currencies that we're going to run into besides UEC. I mean, there's races. They don't use UEC. Pirates, outlaws, yeah, they're going to have some sort of currency besides just UEC.
But I do like that idea for the two separate things, a la GTA. Just for the thing, like if somebody kills you, you can steal that if you want, and you know how much you're carrying on you or whatever. So, I mean, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, you could do it that way, or they could simply do it where it's like you can only steal physical goods or something physical. I personally like it where we have a safe currency. So it's like, this is in UEC. I have it in UEC. It's safe. If I die, they can't steal it. I can't lose my UEC because it's in this safe currency. But then everything else, if you want to do kind of deals outside of the law, it's now unsafe. It's a physical currency that you have on your character now. It's a pirate currency or it's an alien currency or what have you. I like that direction.
You think we'll have like a gold standard kind of item?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just like the other games have done this. Fallout New Vegas did this famously, where they had 3 different currency systems in the game. They had caps.
Well, and I think we all can agree that the actual physical currency that everything's based off of is probably going to be beer.
Beer. Well, yeah, beer is the base currency of the universe.
It's barter. Everyone barters and just.
It's the future. We barter.
And we know that the liquor is worth 525 UEC per bottle.
Yes, there we go. That's your currency, your exchange rate right there.
I'm sure there'll be a standard unit that they go by in terms of like that everyone could use as like UEC is probably the standard currency that they'll use, and then everything else the value will be based off of UEC comparatively.
Yeah, but they'll probably fluctuate a little bit.
Yes.
Depending on how common it is, what planet you're at, stuff like that.
But I'm gonna go against that with the money being safe all the time. I don't think that anything should be necessarily safe all the time. I think that if you decide to carry it on you, then you're risking to lose it. If you're in UE space and you're carrying it with you, then it's whatever. But you shouldn't be carrying money with you all the time if that's what the stuff you're doing. Right? So
I'm not a Care Bear in any retrospect, but I think the idea that like you can't make any progress whatsoever, or like have.
But I'm not saying that.
I know you're not saying that because of banks and stuff, but like the idea that there's no form of like monetary value that you can have currency in that is safe, I think is a mistake.
But you that's what I'm saying though.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, so I'm saying that you have like in GTA, you have money that's on you and you have money that's in the bank, and any money that's on you, you could lose. Right?
Oh yeah, it's what you go about.
It would be like someone could
cash.
just hack your Mobi-Glass and take that money off your Mobi-Glass because you don't need to be in a system for it to read to the bank back and forth, right? So that would make sense that you're going to make a purchase of 2,000 UEC, you withdraw 2,000 UEC on your Mobi-Glass, you go to the place, you buy it. But if you get stopped halfway in between, someone can take that 2,000 UEC. The other 3 million or 4 million or whatever you have in your bank is safe. You can't access that. Just whatever's on your character. That's what I'm saying.
There's a really weird, like, there's a whole bunch of ways CG could go about it, and they could go something really weird. They could go something standard. I'm hoping is they go for kind of a mixed bag because they have so many currencies to play with. I hope it's like not all currencies act the exact same way, because I think that'd be kind of boring at the end of the day. I'd like something where it's like this currency is just weird. Like it's just, it's Banu currency. Like it has to be kept in like a non-oxygen container.
It could be like random currency daggers, right? But I'm just going by with the UEC that we have now and how we know it works right now. Yeah. Just talking about that currency that that we have and how that could be implemented, right? Because as me, I'm not going to necessarily be stealing from other pirates. I'm going to want to be stealing from people who are part of the UEC and part of the advocacy, right? So there needs to be a way for me to do that, other than just their goods and things like that. Otherwise, why would I go after a UE Herald if I can't get the money from that or whatever it is?
Get the data, then sell the data.
Right, the data or whatever. But
you're going to be stealing items. You're not going to be stealing money as much.
Yeah.
Because unless you're robbing a bank.
I don't know.
And if you're robbing a bank, you're robbing data. Like you're not going to be there's no one's going to be like blowing up a vault to pull out gold from a vault. If you're robbing a bank and like you
Well, you'd be robbing a merchant or a pirate who has loot in their house, and that would be like robbing a bank.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you could, who knows? You might be able to rob a bank where you can go to like certain systems and like hack a server with somebody, you know, and have have a mini game where they actually have to hack, just like you have to hack in like
You're gonna try a lot of different things and see what works and what doesn't.
Sure. Yeah. Next question is from Comrade Headclot. Does Star Citizen look like it would be a perfect space station simulator? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what that means either.
No.
Yes.
Yes and no.
Yes.
What's your answer?
At the same time. Schrodinger's space station.
Yes.
Okay.
Technowolf asks, one of the modules on the Endeavor is a particle accelerator. Granted, it can change and be completely different from what it is now. What requires a particle accelerator for all of all things to overclock?
It's pseudoscience. Like, see, it doesn't matter. Whatever.
It's going to be a mini game where you smash atoms together and you have to keep it in like the balance or something like that. It's designed for specific missions for research or something like that.
It's not like super hyper scientifically realistic. Like, I don't think it starts this is. Like, we fly around at like 0.2 speed of light, and like we have like infinite fuel, and it's not a problem.
Yeah. So then this guy called Underscore is asking us, why do you put it in your queso dip? Well, what do you put in your queso dip? I'm sorry. What?
Oreos. Put Oreos in queso dip? Yeah. Not kidding.
And the other question he asks is, what do you guys think about bulkheads?
It's not bad. I think they could probably look at replacing whoever it is with those fake British and Jamaican accents. I mean, that was pretty bad.
I heard the writer's terrible. The writer's just god awful.
The writer.
This guy's just fucking terrible. And then
Bulkheads has blown my mind with like how impossible it is to make the actual like ship commercials in boxes. We're using the actual tools that they use to make the commercials.
For those of you who are confused,
they're terrible.
Myself, Meyer, and Dovlak are all part of Bulkheads. We all work on Bulkheads, which is a machinima series. Let me link it. Bulkheads.
So CryEngine has a tool called Simbox. It's a group of tools.
It's horrible.
They're made specifically to make cinematics, not cinematics. Made to make make levels and to make cutscenes, video game cutscenes. Basically, what Bulkheads is it's a CryEngine cutscene without the game. Like we're building the cutscene without the video game, and it's like that's actually not what Squadron 42 is going to be doing. Because Squadron 42, they're just animating things within a actual scene, and then you're still like a active like agent in that scene, and you can move around most of the time. That's what they're aiming for. We don't know if they're actually going to do that or not. Who knows? But Bulkheads is just a straight up cutscene, that like a crisis cutscene. Mm-hmm. That's what Bulkheads is.
Yeah, it's just a pre-programmed crisis cutscene with Star Citizen assets.
Yeah, and so like we've had to do all these weird things. Like the build we're using didn't have a lot of the ship interiors that we're using. So like obviously there's no interior of the Bengal because it's not finished yet. So we have to make it ourselves. And so getting all that stuff to actually import in, like from the CryEngine editor to Simbox and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and having the actual animations import. It's a lot of like building that stuff up from the ground up. And when you're building that stuff from the ground up and then layering your own custom stuff on top of like the base that's already there from CAG, it's a lot of like, hey, we're just not going to work today. Reboot your computer 3 times and pull your Ethernet cord.
Yeah, about a year ago, somebody asked me if I wanted to help them work on some sort of machinima for Star Citizen, and I took a look at the tools for it, and I was like, no.
No. Yeah. Fuse Feather is a wizard, man.
Yeah, that's what I said. If you figure out how to use the internal tools and you want me to help write stuff for you, I will write it for you, but I am not doing anything beyond that because that is just a mess.
It's a nightmare.
Next question is from the Knight Rider. What are you hoping for in the Drake Dragonfly? Space Harley. Space Harley with guns.
something that can swarm easily.
I already think that what we're getting is probably not what I wanted. When they first talked about it, it was basically a motorcycle. And that's what I always picture in my head, that it's basically like something you climb on and it's a big ass jetpack. And it already sounds like we're getting something different than that, and that's unfortunate. But it still sort of seems like that's what it's going to be. Like it's sort of like an engine with weapons and stuff that you fly around, and it's going to be open space. But it is like for me, I'm hoping that it's something that's quick and very maneuverable, but also is also like a 1-shot, 2-shot kill.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to rig it. Go on, sorry, yeah.
Oh yeah, I just want to be able to swarm with it.
Yeah,
I think that's what its benefit is going to be.
Yeah, because definitely it's just going to be fast. Yeah, like it's going to be nimble.
We're talking Drake here. They're famous for putting giant engines on tiny ships to make them go fast in a straight line, sort of thing. So I imagine it'll be fast.
It'll be fun to race with them.
Yeah.
Well, look at the Buccaneer has 18 maneuvering thrusters.
Yeah.
Underscore wants us to make our own MS Paint drawings of it right now and just put it up there.
I could do that, but it's got to be fast, definitely. But it's a motorcycle, so you're exposed, so you will die in at least.
I think it will have a long section with 2 small round engines at the base. That's the design I'm going for there.
All right, I'm gonna draw it and paint myself right now.
Yeah, I am as
Put it
well.
up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh Lord.
There you go.
We'll watch as Source draws us a dragonfly.
Getting in here for a second, there's a very particular reason why in bulkheads you don't see anyone's face.
Yeah, that's why.
It's that. That's why. That's why you
That
don't.
is terrifying.
Oh yeah, the facial animations are. They are messed up.
Yes, and Star Citizen. The problem is the assets we're using are old assets because CIG locked down the newer assets. So any of the rigging that was done since last summer, for this year ago, is pretty much not in the game in our assets.
Yeah. So like we have to make do with custom animations, and we don't have custom face rigging in us right now, and we're just not going to do that. So just imagine every character in Bulkheads is making that face right there behind the mask.
Okay, you know what? You guys need to come up with a way to write that in that it's happening. If you want help with that, Paul, let me know. I will help you come up with a reason to have that. Like they get exposed to something, they all take off their masks, and
they're
I would help you write
all
that.
suffering from
the current in fiction reason for them wearing their helmets all the time is in the short we put out this past week. It's because simply everyone's incompetent and the ship is run by idiots. Mm-hmm. So the emergency precautions are like for procedure for any issue with the ship, if someone spilled coffee on the floor and it was slippery, is to vent the ship.
Yeah.
No matter what.
It's just the
Everyone
easiest.
just wears their helmets at all times just because emergency vents are constant.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is you guys should have an episode where they get exposed to some sort of virus or whatever that turns their faces black.
It's just so messed up.
And so you could have them all walking around without their helmets, freaking each other out. They take off their helmets like, "Oh my God, what's wrong with your face? It's wrong. You've got the same thing."
Well, the short initially, I think they wanted to squeeze in a joke there about the faces and why they never take off.
Yeah, at the very end of the first short, the idea was to have like a flash cut of just like a super fucked up, just close up of a face for half a second, and that would be the end of it. And we just couldn't get the joke to work well. But yeah, we were going to do that at some point.
Okay, it looks good, but I think I'm only capturing about half of that.
Not even half of it.
Hold on.
Oh, my drawing?
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the rear end of it.
Zoom in, and make it the whole canvas.
Yeah, I can. I
got it. I'll
like that. You got it? Okay.
I'll get you.
It's very beautiful.
It's a work of art.
Yeah, you got to draw some lasers coming out of the front of it. Keep you.
I got lasers coming out of it. It's hard to see here. Hang on.
Okay.
That's these green things. Oh.
There we go.
Oh, that's
no.
not what I wanted. There we go. That's better. Let's just close this here.
There's mine.
Just
on
happy
chat.
little green lines here.
There we go. There you go. There's his.
Meyer just got banned.
Hold on, Meyer. I got you.
It's too late. It's too late. The damage is done.
Now you're
Yeah.
unbanned.
I imagine. I mean, I'll post it again. Well, now it says it's identical to the one I got banned for. I imagine it'll have a windscreen to protect you from micrometeors and like.
Yeah. Well, I have sort of one built in there. It's not done yet.
So there's your contest.
Myers is awesome. It's basically they ripped the wheels off of a Grey Cat and put an engine on the back. Is what you're saying?
Pretty much.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Someone just needs to submit to Disco because Disco's the one running that thread. Just submit a picture of the Great Cat like 2000 SUX.
Sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
2000 sucks. Next question is, if you could redesign the Retaliator for a third time, what would you want in a bomber?
Why did I keep this question? I've seen come up on various. Oh, it's Knight Rider. That's why. I've seen him ask this question all the time. I'm like, where is this question coming from?
Just tell them to watch the last stream for the answer.
Yeah, I answered that
It's a
one.
bomber. It works. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Next question is from Head Bulk. No, really. Tell me about that bulkheads. We did. I'm gonna move on. Sorry, Head Bulk. The Knight Rider, Earth or Terra? Explain why. Terra because Earth is a dying empire.
No man. Loyalty to the Empire. Loyalty to the Empire. You're all dirty heretics.
Screw
And
the Empire. What have they ever
I'm
done?
gonna-
Nothing.
You are gonna get destroyed. The God Emperor of Man. Oh wait, no, this is wrong universe. I'm
Wrong
sorry.
universe. Wrong
J-
universe.
Besides
Stop 40K. Sorry.
giving us sewage, roads, a governing system, security, what has the Empire done for us?
We made some cool spaceships, man.
Okay, besides giving us sewers, roads, governing system, security, and cool spaceships, what has the Empire done for us?
No, but I mean, like
Big
Earth,
Bennies.
Earth is
Government-funded program.
It's not even where anything's made anymore. Everything's made on Terra or off world. So what's the point? What's the point of having?
Or like, not even on Terra. It's like Microtech has like a full planet that they just own. Like a corporation just own planets. For
Crusader owns its own fucking ship factory in a gas giant. I mean, come on. Knight Rider again. Will cast members play a female character in Star Citizen? Will any of you guys be playing a female character in Star Citizen?
I'm gonna do what I always do at character creation. I'm gonna hit randomized a few times. Say that looks fine. Hit go.
Yeah. No, I'm not a Hollywood person. I mean,
At least one of my heirs will be female. Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's the best way to get free stuff. So.
Well, I'm just doing it because
Voice changer and female character.
Dangerfly. Yes.
That's the Dangerfly, and those are the
Dangerfly.
speed lines.
Speed lines makes you go
Yeah,
faster.
that's how you can tell it's like going.
You
fast.
should submit that to the contest, to the draw the dragonfly contest.
It looks too good. It's automatically disqualified.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, I have my reasons for never going a female character. It's for the reasons you guys explained, like being treated differently and stuff like that. I mean, I'm all for the immersion and stuff like that. I mean, I guess I'd go for a darker skin character or something, just so I could like look at my hands and go, it's like real life. But
yeah,
I don't think.
Yeah, my character will, depending on the character customization, I always just make them look like me
yeah,
as much as I can.
as much as
Like
possible.
I'm so boring in fantasy games. I just make them look like me. Like
I hit the random button a few times. That's my
I think I'll probably like my first character will look like me, and like the third or fourth character down the road will probably look different. But I don't think I'll ever go like female.
Yeah,
character.
I
the
mean,
only time I've ever. Go ahead.
Go on.
Go ahead. Meyer, go. Go, Meyer.
The death of a spaceman. I mean, like my first character, I'll make him look as much like me as I possibly can. But if that guy dies, I might make him look similar. But after the third or fourth time, I'm just gonna like put all the sliders to max and then like
that's what you end up doing. It's just like, I'm bored of this now. I just need to be entertained and freak people out.
Exactly.
Let's make up some monstrosity and send it out into the verse.
The only time I've ever felt comfortable playing a female character was with Mass Effect, and that's just only because the character of Femshep is just so much better. Like the actress who plays her is just so much better at playing.
Yeah, Femshep is canon to the majority of people.
Yeah.
Fallout 4 is the same way. The female voice actor is so much better than the male voice actor in Fallout 4. Like when you go through them, and if you replay a female, you're like, why did I play as a male the first time around?
Yeah. Next question. If you could change one thing permanently in Star Citizen, what would it be? This is from the Knight Rider again. I have no real answer for that.
More cowbell.
Probably make it so that you actually have orbital lines for the planets. Okay, that's not going to be in the game, but
Orbital lines.
like the fact that like Terra will orbit its star. So like you
Right.
you come to Terra at one point and you come back 3 months later, it'll be in a different position. So you have to
Okay, like proper full-on telemetry and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a bit of a kerfuffle to do. You know, it sounds very technical.
It's not that hard. Just keep track of where it is in its rotation around the sun.
Yeah, but it's also the issue of
The travel distances will change all the time.
I think it was Sargroth. I think you're right. I think it was Jennifer Hale both times.
it was Jennifer Hale both times.
So yeah, that would explain one of the
Jennifer
reasons
Hale
why
is just
she's
a better actress. That's all.
yeah.
And I'm really jealous of DJ Knight because he got to meet to be on a podcast with her a couple.
Can I
of years.
permit myself? I've never tried. I am a mod. What happens if I permit myself?
You don't have to admit yourself.
You don't need to.
Yeah,
Well,
ban
it,
yourself.
that's because earlier it gave me a timeout for posting a link.
Oh, you're not a mod then.
I've got a little mod icon by my name.
I'm looking for you.
It's there.
Weird.
Oh yeah, it's weird. You should be able to post it.
Hey, I'm a mod now.
There's mine. There's my.
I'm gonna put this over you right now. Hold on.
All right.
Hold on. Where
Wow.
are you? There we go.
That's what I think the dragonfly's gonna look like right there.
Yeah.
You see, those are it's got
That
twin engines
TOS.
on the back.
That TOS.
It's art. All right. It's artistic.
It's not my stream. It's all good.
Next question. Well, we got a couple more. How crazy do you think pirate versus pirate interaction will get? Do you expect a mutual don't fight?
What? How crazy would?
That's
I
going to
think,
be.
I think
the
he's
best
like,
stuff to
hey,
watch.
do you think the pirates will fight each other?
Battling each other.
Why is suddenly Source? Oh, Source is suddenly broadcasting the stream.
Streamception.
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 I think the pirates will be pretty much no contest unless they have something that each other wants. Because they're also going to work together eventually at some point too. You got to think about that.
I mean, when people say pirates, they kind of think that, oh, because they're pirates, they must know each other or they must be in league. But a pirate is just like their own free kind of thing, separate from the advocacy.
Independent.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So pirate versus pirate is going to be the exact same thing as pirate versus UE.
And here's the thing: you can be a pirate and not engage in attacking other people too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't have to just be because you're a pirate doesn't mean you fight people, and just because you fight people doesn't mean you're a pirate. You know, it's piracy was basically about being free, and you know, it was still mostly about cargo hauling and trading. Mm-hmm. It's just there was also the ability. You know, they didn't limit themselves to how they obtained that cargo.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Next one is from
No
Comrade
comment.
Headclont. If the UEE does manage to destroy a kingship in Squadron 42, does that mean the UEE is committing Vandal genocide? If so, won't that become a rally cry for other Vandals clans to destroy the UEE? I've actually heard this explained a couple of times before because people have brought this up. But one of the major things is that the Vandal are a warrior society and they respect strength and they despise weakness. As best as I understand.
It is worth noting, though, that there are a lot of people who theory craft, and I'm one of them. I firmly think this is going to be the case, that the war with the Vandal is a manufactured war,
Mm-hmm.
and that what we are doing is essentially committing an unwarranted genocide against the Vandal, and that may end up being part of the story behind it, that Squadron 42.
Oh, I see. You're a dirty Vandal apologist. Is what you are.
Scumbag.
No, I'm just against the UEE and all their evil ways. I don't trust them. Google it, man.
I knew there was something fishy
Trump
about that.
for UEE advocacy.
Just spectrum it, man. If you don't believe me,
what was the
say spectrum it?
Vega was an inside job? Is that what you're trying to tell us, McKetton? Vega was an inside job?
Vega was an inside job.
Yeah.
Spectrum it.
Next question is also, I guess,
Bishop Live.
You could clearly see it was humans in Vandal suits. Vandal aren't only 5'11".
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that. Do you think those kind of lasers can melt through those
laser
steel
beams can't laser beams can't
Did you
steel
think-
steel beams. Lasers can't melt steel beams. Yes.
Right?
Dreadnought 10 asks, what aspects of mining are you most excited about when we start to see it? the mining?
Stealing it.
Yeah.
I'm just excited
Yes.
about seeing it. That's for me. It's all about learning how these things work, testing them, and helping to get them so they work right in the end.
recreating the first opening scene from StarCraft, where where they're going out with the SVC and to like salvage or to whatever, something like that, with the heavy metal they play or the country metal they play, whatever. I'm just
One of the things I want to do is, somebody mentioned this earlier as a joke. I think it was Wikipedia. I want to try slamming an Aurora against a mineable asteroid and see if I can knock off ore. Stuff like that. I want to come up with these bizarre things.
All right. Next question is from Queequig. Will there be, or is there already, a scheme for celestial navigation, i.e., right ascension, azimuth, for piloting?
Hopefully there will be.
systems,
God, yeah.
routes, waypoints, etc., like stashing a hull in a lonely asteroid and coming back for it later. Yeah, I'm sure there is.
We also remember these asteroids are going to be the destroyable, right?
Yeah.
For mining and stuff like that. So you'll be able to bore out an asteroid and hide things in there. I at some point want to hermit crab my caterpillar, so it if I can get it so like tractor beams can hold on the shell of an asteroid that covers the compartment that
That would be awesome.
that's whatever, and yeah.
Jericho Reed asks, "What are your thoughts on cybercrimes in Star Citizen? Would we be able to find identity theft to evade bounties, cybernetic implant hacking?"
ID spoofing is going to be a thing. We know that much.
Yeah, of both characters and ships.
Yeah.
But I don't think we'll have like identity theft in reality.
Yeah, I think if we have identity theft, that's going to be a definite toss violation.
Yeah.
Because that would literally
But,
be
like,
stealing somebody's money.
But being able to make yourself look like another player
Yeah.
might be, maybe a thing, right? So maybe I can make myself look like the Astropub, and I'm friendly to certain organizations and not others. So I look like I'm Astropub or something. I don't know if they'll do that or not, but
Yeah,
it'd be
you could easily I could easily doctor my caterpillar up to look like Source's caterpillar,
Mhm.
or like Myers, like take my saber and make it look like Meyer's saber. So if someone at a distance like, oh, that looks kind of like Meyer, and then too close up, people wouldn't know what's going on, or it's too late.
and just rename it to whatever their ship is named and
Yeah.
all that other fun stuff.
Steel Bear, will two dragonflies connect together to carry booty? No, two dragonflies will connect together to become booty. It'll be a nice round booty right there with two dragonflies, and I don't know. I don't think they'll be able to carry booty. I think they're just a simple whatever you can carry on your person. Anybody else?
I don't know.
Mostly.
Yeah.
With the spoofing thing, you should be able to hide your name, and I think maybe you might be able to even change your name. So
Yeah, change it to whatever you want. Make it show whatever, unless somebody has an app that can go get around that or.
There's actually
Right, yeah, that's part of the idea is that bounty hunters will probably invest in having apps that can get around that. Outlaws
It'll be
will
like
invest in
back and
apps
forth.
that allow they can do that. Yeah, that's going to be a back and forth kind of thing.
the
an NPC.
There's an ICC mission that actually has that. One of the things where it's like, come on, get something hot. I'm gonna die out here, and then like,
Jenny, you want to go in the back and get something hot?
yeah,
Yeah.
and then she's like, okay, let's do this, and she's like, oh wow, there's no registration there. So it's like, obviously, pirates can spoof the registration. So there's literally no registration. So you don't see the name of the ship. You don't see anything other than it's a ship.
Yeah.
There is actually an option for this in the in the control key bindings actually to turn it on and off. It doesn't do anything, but
Yeah. Yeah, to turn on and off your IFF broadcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Green Fox Leader asks, in regards to exploration, do you guys think you'll be left to explore? What do you guys think will be left to explore if they let us run around like Instant until release? Will they deny content, show us the systems one by one? What's your opinion? Planets
They
exclusive.
don't need to add everything. They just need one of everything to be able to test it.
Exactly.
No, they'll probably add more than one of everything, but they like adding that stuff in and holding that back for release.
Here's the
would make
thing.
sense.
There are, according to multiple people from inside CIG, and they may have just been trolling us, but I don't think so. There are still things that we have not discovered
Oh,
in-
there's definitely
in,
things we haven't seen.
in the live builds, and that includes 2.3 live build, not just 2.4. But the previous live builds, there are still things we have not discovered that are out there.
I
So
mean,
yeah,
Like 2.4, I don't know when they added it, but I know Meyer found that large wreck in Yella,
right.
and I'd never seen it before.
Is it one you can actually go into?
No, it's kind of like
I'm
this.
still waiting for that.
It's
I
like
want
the,
to see
it's
stuff
like
there.
it's like a third of a freaking Idris or something like that.
Yeah, it's just like crap load of it's the same debris that's used in the other debris fields. It's just a bunch of it.
It's
a
also
whole bunch
massive.
of it. Yeah.
No, it's like a huge panel, like twice as tall as a Starfarer, with a massive tear through the center of it. And
Okay.
it has like engine blocks that are sparking, and it's really weird, but you can't enter it from anywhere. There's
Okay.
Yeah, and that was you found that in like PTU 2.4 like F or whatever. Like we didn't.
If anyone wants to find it, just instead of going to Yella from Port Olisar, quantum jump over it, then turn around and quantum jump towards it, and then go towards the right.
Whichever right. Yeah,
Yeah, whatever you're facing.
Yeah.
Just stay on the same level.
So it's on the back left if you want to fly around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think anyone found it up until Meyer found it because I hadn't heard anything about it, and that was several patches into the PTU.
But yeah, and that's a big thing that they
Yeah.
But yeah, according to a lot of people who have worked on the game, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we have not found yet, or at least stuff. I don't know if it's a whole bunch, but there's stuff that we have not found yet. And you think about collectively how many hundreds of hours have been spent in the universe, and the universe is only a cross section of the gravity well of Crusader. So there's gonna be plenty of stuff for us to find throughout the history of this game.
All right, so we've got two more questions and we'll call it night because we're already way over the time we're supposed to be. Guahir, will you teach me how to Dougie? No. And Tobitej at Astropub, how would you price implants, character changes compared to other purchasable items? I think he means everybody, for everybody.
Yeah, I would make expensive. I think it should be expensive to do stuff like that. It should really be
Character
a
changes and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, $10-$20. You just like use the WoW model that works. Use that.
No, I mean like implants or character changes. Oh, but I mean like how about like implants? Like you're actually putting in like
Like in game.
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I was talking out of game.
Yeah, out of game, I agree with Source. Like, yeah, 10, 20 bucks price.
Extra
And
character
in
slot.
game, I think it should be an expensive process, just so that it's not something that people are just doing on a lark. Like, I feel like changing my face now. I'm going to toss $5 grand in UEC. Now, I think it should be something that costs it should have a real. You should have to think about whether you're going to do it. Just like buying a new ship, it should be something you need to think about rather than just do it because I've got the money.
Unless you're balling,
I'll be right.
then you get a new face every day.
That's how you know. That's how you know when they're rich. Is you'll see us streamers who play the game 8 hours a day, every day, rocking a new face, a new character every single day. Like
Whatever.
It's the equivalency of having a gold.
I'm tired of this Idris.
Yes.
I want a new one.
Crash it into Port Hollis.
You lackey, crash this into the sun for me while I buy another one.
I'll give away this old piece of shit to one of my viewers.
Yeah.
You just have a secret like lair in the universe where you just dump. It's a graveyard of your old ships, and just some weird coordinates in the middle of nowhere. Someone
Bunch
warps
of
in.
perfect ships.
It's like AD Idrises just kind of floating around. Like, oh, we scratched that one. That one's kind of got scratched inside. Just
I
dump
didn't
it.
like the way the paint turned out on that one.
No. It looked like lime green. Does it look like lime green to you? It's not lime green, man.
Meyer,
It's supposed to be lime green paint. I wasn't lime green.
Double back. Meyer, go ahead. Just wanted to yell at you, double back.
No. It's just I posted an image of that wreck, but unfortunately there isn't an avocado for scale, but it's huge. Like it looks.
Yeah, that's cool.
Love you, Dovak.
Where's the
All right, I think we're gonna call it a night here. There's two other questions here, but one of them's a repeat, and the other one is with we've already covered. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. It's been a blast. Go around the room. We'll start with Meyer. Who are you? Where can they find you? You're muted.
Good job, Meyer.
Myers muted.
Hey, my name is Myra. You can find me at twitch.tv/Myra_test. You can find me on YouTube /Myra. You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/ what at Maya_test. Yeah, I guess you can find me at Bulkheads Guys or stuff. Like, bye.
And then we've got Dolvac. Who are you? Where can they find you?
I'm Dolvac. You can find me at twitch.tv/Papa Dolvac. Also, me and Fiendish Feather and Meyer and Etropub and a whole bunch of other people are making Bulkheads, which we are right in the middle of me and Fiendish in particular, right in the middle of pre-production on episode 2. We have hesitantly a 3-ish week turnaround time on episodes. It takes a while. You have to build out all the environments custom. It's a nightmare. And I kind of want to shoot myself in the face every time I am making it. I'll come out eventually.
And
2 weeks.
McKetton, who are you? Where can they find you?
I'm Eric McKetton on Twitch and on Twitter, although it's not spelled the way it's spelled on the stream. It's ERIK McKetton, not ERIC.
Okay, my bad.
And that's the same on both. And that's pretty much where you can find me. I stream. I try to stream Monday through Friday, and I try to stream Star Citizen as much as possible. I'm not going to be streaming that often in the next couple of weeks. We're reaching a slow spot for streamers, and I'm a little tired of 2.4 anyway, so I'm kind of taking the time to take a break and rearrange and do some things in the real world for a while. But so I won't be necessarily doing my scheduled streams.
And then we have WTFosaurus. Source, where can they find you?
Yep.
Who are you?
On twitch.tv/WTFosaurus and twitter.com/WTFosaurus. I also am on that redacted.tv website there, and I will throw those links in the chat.
There we go. And Stoutman, who are you? Where can they find you?
I'm on Twitch at Stoutman_PR, Sunday through Thursday, and sometimes on the Fridays and Saturdays. And that's it. I stream Star Citizen mainly.
All right. And I, of course, am Paul, Berserker01 Shelley, your host and space bartender here at the Astro Pub. I stream Monday through Friday, 10 p.m. to late. And on Saturdays and Sundays, we do podcasts. We do this podcast for 3 p.m. And then 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. GMT. Then on 10 p.m. to late on Saturdays and Sundays as well, depending on, varying. But again, thank you guys for hanging out with us. Hope to see you guys again soon. But if I don't, hope to see you someday in the black. Have a good night, guys.
Toodles.